Is we live? We screaming or what? Are we screaming or what, y'all? Shout out, chat. Let's see. So don't be ducking like you never. So don't be ducking like you never wanted. Man, I think it feels like time ain't changed. It wasn't time, it was rugged. I remember back then it was music that would did it. Nowadays rappers have my hand to hide attention. Feeling like rap changed. It wasn't time, it was rugged. Bad. I remember when it was right when they used to did it. High Faith Evans and Drunk Every Loves proved this about modern women's lack of accountability. Is in denial. Let's see what we have here. Your life in a maximum security prison year by year. This one looks good. Let's see what we have here.
Your life in maximum security prison. You are 21 years old and you are being processed into a maximum security facility,
21.
and the processing is the first thing the facility does to
Shit,
you,
boy.
which is to reduce you to a set of data points that fit into fields on a form. Name, number, height, weight, distinguishing marks, next of kin, religion for the chapel record, medical history for the file, psychiatric screening for the classification, gang affiliation question that you answer and that the intake officer writes down
even
and
ask
that
a gang
goes into the
affiliation
file
question.
where everything goes and where everything stays. The processing takes 9 hours. You have not eaten since the county transport at 6 a.m. and it is now 11 p.m. and the fluorescent lights in the processing area have been the same brightness for 9 hours.
Hold up, y'all.
And the
hold up.
same brightness.
Hold up, y'all. Hold up. I think my shit's a little. It's a little too big, boy. Yeah, that should be a little too big. Okay, I think now.
For 9 hours produces a specific disorientation that is not tiredness exactly. It is the removal of the light cues the body uses to track time, and without those cues, the body loses its position in the day. And the losing of position in the day is the first small demonstration of what this place does.
If you guys are new to the channel, be sure to subscribe to the channel. We drop content daily and we go live every single day. This is the late night show whereby we just react to a couple of videos. Just late night shit so we don't get bored. I didn't really get a chance today to stream. I was really in my head, but I'm streaming right now, so that's what's important. Yeah, pause. Shout out RL 1986. Shout out RL, yeah, boy, pause. Yeah. Shout out, be sure you sub up, guys. So we're just watching content. For real, man, and just having fun, man. Be sure y'all enjoy the show, man. I'm gonna be live probably for an hour, then I'm gonna call it a day, cause tomorrow I still gotta work tomorrow.
Which is remove the
Shout out,
variables
Can
you
y'all
use
hear,
to
though?
navigate by and replace
Can y'all
them
hear?
with variables it controls.
But I'm
The
sure
receiving officer is not
sure the
cruel.
volume is not
He
that
is not
bad.
kind either.
Shout out, chat.
He
Be
is
sure to get them subs up if y'all
procedural. He
new to the
moves through the
channel.
intake checklist
Be
the
sure to
way
check out
someone
the
moves
videos
through a
as well. I
task
just
they have
dropped new
performed
videos. Be sure to
several
check that out as
thousand
well.
times, completely, correctly, and without any particular relationship to the
Shout
person
out.
the task is being
Bro,
performed
imagine
on.
getting life in prison.
You
boy.
are issued property. 2 uniforms, 1 pair of
Shit, boy.
boots,
Life in
1
prison,
mattress
bro. I'd
roll,
never.
1 bar of soap, 1 toothbrush,
Listen,
1 set
bro.
of bedding.
That first day, boy, they put me behind bars, dog. I'ma take a fucking rope. I'ma take a flipping rope, hanging up on top of the fucking fan, boy, and let God deal with
Carry
whatever
it down
he
a
deals
corridor
with, okay?
that smells like industrial cleaner, and
Shout out,
something
chat. Be sure I
underneath
get
the
them
industrial
subs up.
cleaner that the industrial cleaner has been failing to fully cover for years, and that you will stop smelling within 3 weeks because the brain stops registering constant input that requires no response, and this smell requires no response, and in 3 weeks it will be gone for you, the way it is gone for everyone who has been here longer than a month. The officer stops at a door. The door opens. He says, "This is you." The door closes.
This is your new door.
The cell
your new
is
home.
6 by 9 feet.
Shout out Chad
The
Bishop
ceiling is
Saba.
9 feet above you and does not move and has not moved
Marcus
and will not move and is the same ceiling it will
Wakely.
be
Is that how
tomorrow
I say your
morning
name?
and the
Marcus
morning after
Wakely.
that and
Shout
the
out
morning
Marcus
after that
Wakely.
for a number of
Be sure I
mornings
get them
that the
subs up.
sentencing
It's your
document
boy.
specifies and that you have not yet found a way to
Marcus
make
Cook-
real in your
Cook
body
Wakely.
even though your brain has read the number
Shout out
many
Marcus
times.
Kukweli.
You sit on
Shout
the
out you guys, it's your boy FWIE and Tintone Sekasi 1496. If you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe to the channel. We drop content daily and we go live every single day. This is a late night stream where I react to content and just watch a couple of shit. So the first video we're tapping into is your life in maximum security prison year by year. So let's see what they're
mattress.
saying about that.
The
Be sure y'all
facility
sub
runs
up,
its
guys.
count
Let's get
at
them subs
midnight.
up.
A light comes on.
Also
An
check out the
officer
videos. I
walks
just
the
dropped 2
tier.
videos.
The light goes off. The facility has counted you
Shout out
and
SK
confirmed your
Rayhan.
presence and recorded your presence and will do this again in 4
sure I get them
hours and
subs
4
up, guys.
hours
If you're new
after
to the
that
channel, it's
and
your
every
boy
count for the
FWIE
duration
and Tintone
and the
Sekasi
duration is the
1496.
number you have not
I'm
yet
new
made
here.
real and that
Welcome,
the facility is not
welcome,
waiting for you to make
SK
real before
Rayhan.
it begins.
Be sure y'all
It
also get
began
them subs
when the
up.
door closed.
Where are
And
you
if
from?
you are new here, subscribe.
Where are you from? Where are you from? Oi. Are you from? Oi. Where's you? Is it the British that say oi or the England? Is it the British or the? Is it the British or the Scottish who say oi? Shout out SK. Shout out JCMS. What's up, dog? How you doing? I'm doing very well. Be sure I get them subs up. I'm doing very well, Brody. How are you doing? Shout out JCMS. JCMS. Shout out JCMS. Shout out Jason. Shout out you guys. Thank you guys for coming through to the show and be sure y'all sub up, man. We are very happy to have you here, me and my team. But now it is just me. Yeah, now it's just me. So thank you guys for coming.
This
through
channel
to
goes
boys.
inside places most people only see from the outside.
Let's
Hit
get
the
them
bell.
subs up.
Now let's go. Year 1. The
Nah, bro, I'm from Bangladesh. Oh, shout out Bangladesh. You're from India. Shout out Bangladesh, India. Shout out you guys, what's popping? It's your boy FWIE and Tintone Sekasi 1496. If you guys are new to the channel, be sure to subscribe to the channel. We drop content daily and we go live every single day. Shout out Bangladesh, England. Yeah, bro, I'm from South Africa. I'm from South Africa. Where the rest of you guys from? SA boys in the cut, man. We locked in.
number. Your name is now a number.
Okay, but like on like a for real, guys, do you guys think you will be able to manage 20 years in prison? Like 20 years. 20 years, bro. Bro, like 20 years, dog, is literally my entire lifetime, basically. You're gonna be there my entire lifetime, boy. Type shit. Oh, dog, it's scary. Shout
Not
out.
officially.
Let's also
Officially,
like
your
up,
name
okay?
is
Let's
still
also
your
like up.
name, and the legal documents use it, and the mail uses it, and your mother uses it on the phone every Sunday when the phone time is available, and you are on
Man,
the
that's a great
approved.
country. Shout out, man. Yeah, man. But you know, it has its flaws, man. But shout out SA, man. A great country indeed, man. But I'm really trying to travel, bro. Go around the place. But probably go to Cape Town, bro. I wanna go to Cape Town, bro. But India's also popping as well, bro. Like India's also popping, bro. Like I'm not gonna lie to you, bro. Like India's also popping. But me, you know me, bro. I'm all about the fine shit, boy. I'm all about the fine shit, and I know for a fact India got some fine shit over there. Got some disciplined fine shit, dog. Type shit. Nah, but we finna pull up to India, though. Let the bag get big enough. We're gonna start touring in this bitch. Shout out you guys. Be sure I get them subs up. I'm gonna
Call
start
list,
touring.
which you are. But inside the facility, the number is the operational identity. The number is what the count
Shout out,
conforms.
chat.
The number is what the movement pass carries. The number is what
We
the
lock
commissary account runs under, and what the medical
This video is taking too long. Or is it because like I kind of lost
request
focus?
form
But let's tap in.
requires, and what the disciplinary report names, and what the classification hearing references, and what the parole board will eventually read at the top of a file that by then will be thick enough to use as a doorstop.
And see what's happening.
The number is not dehumanizing in the dramatic way the word dehumanizing usually implies. It is more specific than that. It is the replacement of a variable identity, a person who exists differently in different contexts, who is a son and a friend and a neighbor, and someone with a history that includes things.
Wait, can you guys hear while I'm speaking? Because I don't think you can hear me if I'm speaking while the video plays. I still need to fix the sound, dog, bro. But there's just so much shit I be doing, bro. Like, there's not enough time in a single day, guys. And if you waste time, bro, you're just never gonna cover everything you're supposed to do, bro. So shout out, y'all. Let's get them subs up if y'all new to the channel. When real fighters don't hold back. Oh, let's see what's happening here. This looks like a great video. Let's see what's happening here.
Some people really think they can handle a pro fighter until reality hits them hard. In this video, you'll see what happens when dumb people mess with professional fighters. Welcome to the Fight Hub. First up, an influencer challenged UFC fighter Paddy Pimblett to what was meant to be a light sparring session. But once the influencer started throwing hard shots, Paddy decided to give him a real response. It turned into a brutal lesson that he won't forget anytime soon.
Is this spitting out water? Oh, now he's pissed off. Yo. Oh, he felt that one. Nah, he's not gonna win it.
I've just been sick. I don't care. I don't care. You've just been sick. Well, you should get your fat ass up.
In the next clip, bodybuilder Larry Wheels walked into a gym full of UFC fighters, convinced they wouldn't stand a chance against him.
I know Larry June. I think he got moved by someone who's like, who is less than him.
2 rounds later,
sad,
he
boy.
got a hard reality check.
We've been having this debate, right? I'm not a trained fighter. I don't wrestle. Me at 260 can take anyone 130 to 160. It's just at 130 pounds, it's just not enough mass to take me down. But now when the guy's 125 pounds against me, it's not hard. It's not hard at all.
I think you tap
Confidence,
within
boy.
2 minutes. Wait, get away from him! Oh shit, that's over.
10 seconds. Damn, like that.
God damn, Larry!
Oh, they caught him.
Yo.
Shit, they got him, boy.
It's over.
They're a professional wrestler, man.
Bro, how you feel?
Bottom,
Bro, it wasn't that.
it was horrible.
It wasn't that bad.
Stop that.
Next up, an MMA fighter got confronted by a Japanese gang member who wanted to test him. It quickly turned into a situation the guy clearly wasn't prepared for.
You. Yo, bro, why is he fighting so rough, dude? Bro, like, why the fuck is you fighting so rough, gang? Oh, that got jammed. Jeez, boy. Nah, fam. They didn't miss your punk ass. Yo. Yo, shout out you guys, what's popping? It's your boy FWIE and Dintona Sekasi 1496. If you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe to the channel. We drop content daily and we go live every single day. Late night stream with your boy, just watching a couple of nice videos, yeah, dog, niggas is getting moved out here. Be sure y'all sub up if you're new to the channel.
Here we have another MMA fighter who invited an internet troll to his gym to put him back in his place.
He got his ass whooped, bro. They're fighting with hands, bare knuckles. Bro, why are they fighting bare knuckles though? Why are they fighting bare knuckles? Be sure I get them subs up, guys. It's your boy FWIE and Dintona Sekasi 1496. I go live every single day. Be sure y'all tap in, guys. This is crazy, bro. Bro is getting his teeth knocked out. Shit, bro's getting his teeth knocked out, bro. Be sure y'all subscribe, or else I'm gonna knock your teeth out. Shout out, Chef. What the fuck was that?
In the next clip, a male soldier found himself getting completely outclassed by a female fighter.
This guy cannot fight. This guy cannot fight.
There you go, that's great job. Take him forward. Nice job. Good job. Good job. Good. There you go.
Generational aura lost. Generational aura lost. He'll never become captain ever again.
Finish him.
Forget about that shit. Generational aura.
Same story with this guy, who got embarrassed by a female soldier.
Female soldiers can fight. He took it easy. And he got shook. Took it easy and he got shook. Why aren't you throwing punches, gang? Shoot. All these niggas getting their ass up by these bitches. What's happening? What the fuck was that? What the fuck was that though?
Here we have an internet troll who thought it would be funny to mock UFC fighter Natan Levy online.
Bro, but then like, why? I don't understand this. Why are all of these guys challenging like professional fighters? At least if you can challenge people on the streets, it will make. I mean, like, okay, like you're more likely to get thrown in jail. But like, why are you challenging a professional fighter, gang? Like, you're trying to get moved.
Tan invited him to his gym and gave him a lesson he definitely won't forget.
Some guy jumped in the thread named Ben, and he said he's willing to come meet me to defend Nick Fuentes' honor and come spar with me. We started talking on Twitter, right?
Yeah, no, I was just messing around. Yeah.
Oh, you were messing around?
Yeah, no, I'm not a hateful person. I love everybody, you know. I'm taking as many rounds as we...
Bro, energy just completely shifted, dog. Energy just completely shifted. Online is like, man, fuck you. I'm gonna do 1, 2. When they meet you in person, dog, all their energy is gone, man. Be sure I get them subs up, check.
I feel like I am primarily a striker. I said I did karate, taekwondo, mixed with it for 8 years. He hasn't watched film on me. I have striking, I have power, I have the size.
It's a classic case of fuck around and find out.
Shout out you guys, be sure I get them subs up, gang.
Keep going. No sorry. Shut up. Sorry. The fuck you mean sorry? Shut up.
Who's tapping out?
A guy connected to the Japanese mafia threatened a professional boxer online and talked like he was ready for anything. The boxer gave him a chance to prove it in a sparring session, and it quickly turned into a harsh lesson for the loudmouth.
Shout out, chat. Shout out you guys. Shout out you guys. Be sure y'all get them fucking subs out. We locked in late nights, gang. Ain't no other way. It's your boys, the East Side. Let's get them subs out. Okay, that was a good shot. Ooh, uppercut. Body shot.
2, 3, 4.
Man, start with all them tattoos. Who's gonna win all them tattoos?
Go.
And this guy is very fast. For someone his size, is very fast. This guy's a very fast fighter. For someone his for someone his size, he's very fast.
We got an influencer fight, which gets out of control after one fighter loses and then decides to attack his opponent after the fight was over. What he didn't expect was a referee with real combat sports experience.
Succes. Tiempo, luptă. Suntem 11.000 acum începem.
Ce de colțul roșu, wow! Încearcă un Superman punch, prinde acea ghilotină, ce de dus jos de către Dustinel. Dustinel, deci va trebui să abandoneze lupta, ceea ce s-a și terminat. Ce de câștigă! Ce surpriză! Se pare că conflict nu s-a terminat încă. Yamato intervine în forță și îl oprește. Abandona, risca să leșine să fie pus la sol.
God damn, he got manhandled by the ref, gang. And you can tell the ref been doing his push-ups.
This sumo wrestler thought that being bigger would be enough to handle an MMA pro. It didn't take long before he realized size alone means nothing against real skill.
Ну, это историческое событие.
Once he got down,
Идет вперед, полное ТВ, пошел вперед, вы посмотрите.
don't fall, big guy.
Постреливает
Don't fall,
руками
big
сейчас.
guy.
Дарина пытается не подпустить этого амбала к себе. Делает все абсолютно правильно, но зажимает Гриша ее бойцов из уважения. К Дарине Маздюк, очень отчаянная девушка. Ой, пропускает в голову! Срубает Гришу, полное ТВ, добивание в партере. Близко к Фифери не торопится останавливать, потому что огромные плечи. Стучит сам Гриша. Остановка.
We got a bodybuilder who thought his size and strength would be enough to handle a Division I wrestler.
If I ask you 1 out of 10, what do you think the chances you take me down? 10. You're that confident? Why are you so confident? How much do you weigh? 25. And how tall are you? 6'3". You got 10 out of 10 chance. All right, let's do it. What?
Oh my God. Oh my God.
This guy's getting outclassed, boy. Shout out you guys, what's popping? It's your boy FIIE Team Tona Sekaisi 1496. If you guys are new to the channel, be sure to subscribe to the channel. We drop content daily and we go live every single day. So be sure you sub up. This is a late night show whereby just reacting to a couple of videos. This is like the second video we're watching right now. But yeah, it's a very fun video, dog. Who's the redhead nigga? Is the redhead guy going to win? Don't let that guy get the advantage, dog. The small guy won. The small guy actually won. Let's get them subs up, check. If y'all new to the channel, let's tap in if y'all new.
In the next clip, we have this delusional woman who genuinely thought she could step into a professional MMA fight just for fun. She ended up paying a very hard price for that.
Shoo. Why did she think it's a good idea to come inside the fight? Why did she think it's a good idea though? Oh. 4 punches. 4 punches, gang. This was 4 punches.
She ended up paying a very hard price for that.
Let's count them punches. Let's count them together. Let's count these punches together. Those were 4 punches. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 punches. 4 punches. Oh. God damn, she got knocked the fuck out.
A kung fu master stormed into the gym of former UFC fighter Nam Phan and challenged him to a fight.
Kung fu fights.
It was a bold move that ended with him paying the price.
Kung fu, huh? Why are you trying to throw a kick, though? Ah, it's Chai. It's Chai. It's Chai. I saw by that point that it's Chai. There is no getting back up from that. It's Chai. that a kung fu? Did they say he's a kung fu champion or what?
And that wasn't the last person to make that mistake. In this one, a self-proclaimed street fighter walked into an MMA gym to test his skills.
This Fudo Shin Jiu-Jitsu, we just had somebody walking off the street saying they wanted to take on one of our fighters, Jeremy
Shout out,
Holloway.
Let's get themselves
Official dojo storm in
Thank y'all
old
for
Gracie
tuning
Jiu-Jitsu
in.
style. We're recording this. Okay, ready? And go. Oh, good butt shot. Oh, good. I like that.
2, 1, 2.
The waiver aside, he said he wanted something to Jeremy.
Ooh.
You alright,
Good
brother?
night, boy.
Do you think Jiu-Jitsu is gay? Because I think so.
You think so?
Yeah, if you beat me today, I'm gonna have my opinion changed.
Yeah, okay.
10.5 years of Jiu-Jitsu. So if you do not take me down today, that would be quite shameful. Even though you're a weaker sex. Do you believe in equality?
Yeah, but not in weight or strength.
Can you tap?
Yep.
Nah, they did that for the concept. Hard for me to believe that. It's very hard for me to believe that fight was like real. I think they did that just for the concept.
跟我呢，本来不该说的，为啥当时我手没有劲，手抬不起来？这样他这么慢的速度，一个左边拳能打住，为什么？我想不通嘛。有模拟，模拟一下，然后叫那个一鸣刺激你，手嘛你肯定是让别人也暗算了。
Here we have a no-rules bare-knuckle fight. The guy was confident at first, but his cocky attitude quickly disappeared once he felt the strength of a real pro.
This must be this guy must be like one of those cocky guys who beats everyone else up until he met that one fighter. I've met guys like this before. Sean Strickland's gonna move you, boy. Don't challenge Sean Strickland, dog. That guy's gonna move you. On guard, he's gonna move you. On guard. Bro got dragged, dog. This guy's throw a punch, gang. Oh my god, bro. Throw a punch. Dog, that nigga's dying, bro.
In this one, a random guy walked into a boxing gym convinced he could prove himself and ended up challenging pro boxer Lorenzo Trevino to a fight. He expected to make a statement, but instead, he got a hard and very clear answer that showed him exactly what real boxing skill looks like.
Bro, the power behind those punches, dog. Even I can feel it. Yo.
And for the last clip, another street fighter who decided to test himself against UFC fighter Blake Bilder. It didn't take long for him to realize that he had made a terrible mistake.
These are trailer park rules. Anything goes. Let's work.
Wait, is he sleeping? Let's go! No way. You want to do one more?
I mean, I'm down if you're down.
Damn, bro. Dubai is over. What do you mean Dubai is over? Wait, let's check out this video. Shout out,
Habibi, come to Dubai, the safest city on earth. Maybe not. For years now, Dubai has built itself a carefully crafted image all over social media, promising nothing but luxury.
Shout out, chat. Be sure I get them subs up. It's your boy. If you're not subbed up, then what are you doing with your life, gang? Just sub up. You know you want to sub up, gang.
Safety and tax breaks for the wealthiest and most annoying.
Some people really think they can handle a pro fighter.
Let's look for a video. I'm looking for a fighting video. Here's another fighting video. World records that will never be broken. This one looks interesting.
Stop browsing flights and start booking them. France has the Eiffel Tower to climb. Spain has...
These are the craziest world records of all time. But as the video goes on, the records get more and more unbreakable. And watch this man chug a gallon of lemonade.
3, 2, 1, go! Badlands Wave Machine. Oh! 21 seconds, a new world record.
Damn! This guy set the record before the others could even start. That's crazy. And so is the shallow dive record from Professor Splash, because he face planted from 37 feet into just 12 inches of water. Man, I wouldn't want to be that guy, but I'd hate to be this record holder. Because this dude decided to stand still for 38 hours to break the record for the longest time standing motionless. Which sounds simple enough, until you realize the entire thing was live streamed.
2, 1, go. 38 hours starts now, baby.
Oh, he gets up!
Until finally, after 38 grueling hours of torture, he was finally able to walk away with the record. And maybe a little brain damage. That is ridiculous! But this sharpshooter speed is straight up insane. Because Bob Munden's the fastest gunslinger to ever live.
Now watch this. 2 balloons, 2 shots, in 1/30th of a second.
Damn! Bro set a record in the blink of an eye. But unlike Bob, this man was shooting shots off the range. Because he proudly holds the record for the world's largest family. See, this is Ziona Chana, a father to 94 children and a husband to 39 wives.
Power, member. Power. 94 kids, 34 wives. No, man. No, You are my idol, bro. I want to be like you when I grow up, dog. I want to be like you when
He proudly holds the record for the world's largest family. See, this is Ziona Chana, a father to 94 children and a husband to 39 wives. Yeah, 39! Hell, at one point, he even married 10 different women in a single year, which sounds crazy. But it gets even crazier than that. Because Ripley's, believe it or not, totaled up his wives, kids, and 33 grandkids, and found Ziona has the world's largest family with 167 members. You don't see that every day, but you never see this. The longest ski jump in sports history, because the only way to break the record was to build.
Here in South Africa, once you have another wife, all of a sudden it's a problem. Here in South Africa, this is the only reason why I would want to be Zulu. That's the only reason.
A ramp straight into the side of a mountain. So they worked day and night, moving over 150,000 cubic yards of snow and carving out a 2,800-foot path just to make it possible. And once it was finally complete, all he had to do was...
What the fuck?
955 feet! Damn! Dude went the distance! And so did the long jump world record, because it hasn't been broken in over 34 years. See, in 1991, Mike Powell did something no athlete had ever done before, because at the World Championships in Tokyo, he broke the record with a jump of...
Bro, this shit's flipping insane, bro. Are you saying this shit that I'm saying?
29 feet.
We really went for that one. That's huge! That is history in the making. That's a world record.
Yeah, he couldn't do that again if he tried. And neither could Josef Salek, because he planked so hard, it set a record. Yeah, back in 2023, this man remained in this very position for an ungodly 9 hours, 38 minutes, and 47 seconds. Jesus! Josef really raised the bar, and so did Hafthor Bjornsson, because this man literally deadlifted.
Bro, like, this guy was doing a plank for 9 hours, bro. If I do that bitch for more than 10 minutes, dog, I can feel my six-pack coming. Like, I can feel that shit coming, bro.
Did over half a ton.
Bjornsson of Iceland, 510 kilograms. Ladies and gentlemen,
whoa! That's 22 pounds heavier than the previous record, making it the heaviest lift in human history. That dude's a beast. But we're going from beast to beings, because we gotta talk about the freakiest record ever. See, Goa Bengoa had been a beekeeper for over 30 years, and with that kind of love for bees, he knew he could do something crazy with them. So Goa stripped down to his underwear, covered himself in queen bees, and had thousands of them poured all over his body.
For most of us, this is the stuff nightmares are made of.
Yeah, this man's the bee king. And that's why he went on to set not one, but 2 unbreakable records. The heaviest mantle of bees at 240 pounds, and the most bee stings in a single day at over 2,000. Damn, that should be illegal. But what this guy did was straight up rule bending. Because during the 2022 NASCAR Cup Series.
So you're telling me this guy got stung 2,000 times and he didn't feel the 2,000 times? Shit.
Ross Chastain pulled off a move that literally changed the rules of the sport forever. See, with just 1 lap to go and sitting in 10th place, he needed a miracle to qualify. And that's exactly when the impossible became his only option.
Ross Chastain used the wall all the way around this racetrack to race his way into the championship 4.
He went from 10th to 5th place on that last lap.
Jesus! Ross wall ride his way from 10th to 5th place, securing his position in the championship 4, something he had no chance of making just moments before. I mean, bro even set the fastest lap in NASCAR Cup Series history. But as it turns out, the move was so crazy, they had it banned. That will literally never happen again. And neither will this. Cause,
Same
else
thing
is-
as that. Like, do you guys know that Maradona goal whereby like he scored using his hand? After that, dog, they've been very strict on people who play using their hands, boy.
Gonna skate down a 22-story building. Yeah! This is the CAFF building in Brazil. It's shaped like a giant quarter pipe. And for years, skaters have dreamed of dropping down it, but no one was insane enough to try. That was until world champion skater Sandro Dias had an idea. So he teamed up with Red Bull and went to work, building a custom ramp onto the side of the building, testing drop after drop, and pushing the level higher and higher, until eventually, from over 229 feet in the air, it was finally time to make history.
Is he gonna jump?
Man, I thought he was cooked in the first half, I'm not gonna lie. But I wish I was lying about this next record. The
that all they had to
highest
do?
waterfall descent in a
Is that all he had to do? Man, I thought the boy was about to jump off that bitch.
kayak. Because Tyler Bratt didn't just go for the record, he was willing to risk his life for it.
Oh, he's out, he gets the boat.
189 feet straight down a waterfall. Now that drop was pretty, but Dennis Frasoli's record is ugly, because his unicycle act was so dangerous, the Guinness Book of World Records still refuses to acknowledge it today, more than 35 years later. See, in the 1980s, Dennis had nothing left to prove. He was hands down the greatest unicycle performer the world had ever seen, and no one was capable of riding his 35-foot-tall Tower of Death unicycle without taking some serious fall damage. But as crazy as that was, he went on to raise the bar even higher.
What
I want to do something that no one else in the world's doing. The unicycle can be dangerous on a high wire, but this one doesn't have to be on a high wire to be dangerous. You could even get killed doing it, but I want to do it. I want to do it.
You nervous?
Nah.
Yeah, Bro pulled off tight turns, figure eights, hell, he even weaved in and out of cones for a full 12 miles, completely solo. Dennis was already the GOAT, but with the extra mile. What a legend. And if we're talking legends, we gotta mention Robbie Knievel, cause this guy pulled off something his Daredevil dad couldn't. See, back in 1974, Evel Knievel's Snake River Canyon jump didn't go as planned, when his rocket-powered bike's parachute deployed too early, bringing the jump to an abrupt end. But Robbie wasn't about to let that failure define the family legacy. So in 1989, at just 25 years old, he decided to take matters into his own hands. And quick disclaimer, this was performed by professionals in a controlled environment.
Don't do this at home.
Jesus! Robbie became the only person to successfully jump the Grand Canyon on a motorbike, flying 228 feet across the gorge and doing it all on live TV. This dude Robbie stayed shocking the world. But look, there's a lot more impossible world records coming up, like the highest high dive, an illegal world record, or the time someone literally buried themselves alive for 61 days. And we'll get to that and so much more. But now, we gotta talk about the time the impossible became possible. Back in 2012, Felix Baumgartner jumped from the edge of space at 128,000 feet. I mean, the dude literally broke the sound barrier with his own body, hitting 843 miles per hour on the way down, setting a record with most people thinking it would never be broken. And they were right. For a while anyway. Cause what if I told you, just 2 years later, some random computer scientist came out of nowhere and broke Felix's record. This time from 135,000 feet. And the craziest part? You probably didn't even know it happened. Or what about the highest competitive high dive? A record so rare, it remains unbroken for over 4 decades. See, back in 1983, SeaWorld San Diego hosted an event that would go down in extreme sports history. A high dive contest where the record to beat was 170 feet. That's like launching yourself off of a 15-story building or Niagara Falls. In fact, a dive like that is so dangerous that just 1 year earlier, multiple divers tried to break the record, only to end up breaking themselves. So when the contest was brought back in '83, most people thought it was a death wish. But somehow, 5 men stepped up to the challenge, each launching themselves from 172 feet.
He's in good shape. He knows where it is.
All right! Jesus Christ! That's 5 dives and 5 records in a single day! No one's completed a jump like that ever since. But what if I told you that there's a record so extreme, so crazy, that the only way to prove it was actually possible was to attempt it? This is Luke Aikens, a 3rd-generation skydiver with over 21,000 career jumps to his name. But out of all of those jumps, only one of them set an impossible record. See, in 2016, Luke set his sights on something no one had ever attempted before. An idea so outrageous, it was almost unthinkable. He wanted to raw dog a jump out of a plane from 25,000 feet and land straight into a net. Yeah, no parachute, no backup, nothing. And I know what you're thinking. How the hell is that even legal?
What the fuck?
Oh, well, apparently, the jump would only be approved under one condition. He had to wear a backup chute. There was just one problem. That extra weight could throw him off course completely. In fact, Luke was ready to call the whole thing off. That was until just minutes before the jump, when the rule was lifted, officially sealing his fate.
So 23,000 feet, I've just jumped out, I've done a flip, kind of taking a breath, making sure I'm in the right area.
Right now, Luke is hurtling towards the ground at 240 kilometers per hour.
At about 5,000.
This can't be real. This can't be real, bro. Nah, this can't be real.
Feet, I realize I'm a little bit off.
He was drifting a lot more, so I was a little concerned why he was doing that.
Holy crap! I was free falling for 2 freaking minutes, hitting 150 miles per hour before finally landing in the net. Jesus, man, Luke was out of his damn mind. But he's not the only one, because these people tried to break a record, but accidentally shut down an entire city in the process. Back in 1986, the city of Cleveland set out to make history and finally put Ohio on the map. So they launched Balloon Fest, a massive event to raise funds for charity, while breaking the world record for the most balloons released at once. This was supposed to be a feel-good story, a moment of pride for the entire city. So they got to work, spending 6 whole months preparing. Everything from building a massive net over the city block, securing sponsors, and even putting together 2,500 volunteers. So when the big day finally came, they were ready to change the fate of Ohio forever.
The world record has just been broken in Cleveland! Over 1,500,000 balloons going up in the air at this very, very moment!
This was supposed to be a celebration, but within minutes, that dream turned into a nightmare.
How?
It's completely covering the terminal tower! And the wind has just shifted just enough that the balloons are now trailing fast!
Highways were shut down, the airport was forced to close, and worst of all, the balloons even flooded Lake Erie, right in the middle of a Coast Guard rescue mission.
That big balloon launch in Cleveland today is one of the things that's making this search so tough for the Coast Guard. Can you imagine trying to find somebody floating out here or even spotting a life jacket with all these balloons on the water?
Yeah, not only were 2 lives lost that day, but the fallout was so massive that the city was hit with multi-million-dollar lawsuits. And the stunt was so reckless, the record was banned from ever happening again. Damn, only in Ohio, man. And only one person can pull this next record off. Because this lady lived so long, it set a record. Yeah, this is Jeanne Calment, a French woman born in 1875, who also happens to have one of the most interesting lives ever. I mean, during her lifetime, she met Vincent van Gogh, watched the Eiffel Tower being built, and outlived both world wars. But what she's really known for is being old. And I mean really old. Like, not only did she experience life before the telephone and the invention of plastic, but she was also around before electricity was even a thing. But in 1997, Jeanne completed her craziest feat yet, when she officially became the oldest human to ever live, at 122 years and 164 days old. So if you've ever wondered who the oldest living person of all time is, now you know. But hey man, while some people earn their legend status, others are just born with it. Cause Robert Wadlow holds one of the most unbreakable records of all time.
Hello, Sender. I've traded my schedule for the new spritzer.
An infusion of zesty orange flavoring and exotic refreshment. Brutal Fruit Spritzer introduces the new L'Orange Rossa. South Africa B Sharp, not for persons under the age of 18.
Although he died in 1940, Robert's record has never been broken.
See, when Rob was born, he was just a regular baby. But as he grew older, his parents started to realize something was off. Yeah, the kid was growing 3 times faster than normal. I'm talking 5'7" at just 5 years old. Not only that, but he was growing faster than the channel. So subscribe! I'm trying to keep up. But for Robert, it was only up from there. Cause that's when doctors discovered he had a rare condition that caused his body to produce excessive amounts of growth hormone, which meant that not only would he never stop growing, but by
Be sure you sub up if you're new to the channel. Wait, what the fuck? Did something happen to the mic? Why is it so loud? Be sure I sub if you're new to the channel.
time he was 8, he had already outgrown his old man. Fast forward a couple of years later, when he was 12 years old, and he was right up there with giants like Shaq at 7'1". It was unbelievable. But no one could have predicted just how much taller Robert would eventually become. Because by the time he graduated high school, he was 8'4". At that point, the dude was just turning heads wherever he went. But unfortunately for him, all the attention and fame came at a price. Because the bigger he got, the more his body started breaking down. He had to walk with leg braces, had almost no feeling in his feet. I mean, the dude was literally outgrowing his own body. And yet, even through all that pain, he just kept growing until eventually it became too much to bear. And at just 22 years old, Robert tragically passed away, measuring 8'11". Officially making him the tallest person in recorded history. Damn. Robert took that record to the grave. But this next guy took his out of one, because Mike Meany set a record for being buried alive. You see, Mike had a couple of screws loose. I mean, the guy once got into a work accident that left him trapped under a pile of trash. And instead of never wanting to be stuck like that again, he figured he could last even longer. Yeah, so in a wild attempt to prove it, or maybe even get a little famous, Mike devised a plan. And on February 21st, 1968, after sharing one last meal with the city, he climbed into a coffin and was lowered 6 feet under. This guy really buried himself alive just for clout. Ridiculous! But I guess it paid off, because Mike went on to set not one, but 2 unbreakable records. The longest voluntary burial and the longest time spent in an underground coffin at 61 days. And he doesn't even regret it.
You know, this morning I heard somebody ask you if you wanted to come up and you said you didn't want to come up.
Oh, I didn't want to go up at all. I want to go ahead for 100 to 500 days more.
Man, screw records. I'm just glad he's alive. But this next guy's living it up too much. Cause my man Uli Emanuele had an adrenaline addiction that was taking over his life. See, in 2014, Uli was out hiking in the Dolomites when he spotted a narrow cave carved into the side of a mountain. I mean,
Bro, this is one of those scary ass things that I don't know why people do them. Like, bro, free falling from the... Bro, like...
thing was so small, even just the thought of flying through it was a joke. But what started as a joke turned into an obsession. Because over the next 3 years, Uli trained like a madman. Like the dude was flying between trees, carving through tight gaps, and doing anything he could to get better. Until eventually, after 3 years, he returned to that exact same spot. This time, with thousands of hours of practice under his wings, ready to find out once and for all if it was actually possible. What the? And the madness didn't stop there, because Uli ended up repeating the stunt 4 times that very same day. Man, that's crazy. But what about a record so insane that it only happened once? A record that realistically shouldn't even be possible. Well, I think I found it. The extreme sports of wingsuit flying, a hobby that blends 2 of the most adrenaline-pumping pastimes out there, base jumping and skydiving. But what if you took things a step further? What if you cut out the one thing standing between you and becoming a human fried egg? Well, in 2012, Gary wanted to take thinking outside the box to a whole new level. So he and his team stacked 18,000 boxes and planned to land onto them. Yeah. And I'm not talking about some soft coochie touchdown. He was ready to smash into them from 24,000 feet. In other words, the dude was totally off his rocker. Because on May 23rd of that very same year, after everyone begged him not to do it, Gary did it anyway.
Fox, copy coming in now.
No, Gate is the guy.
Any team needs
Gate is the man he is.
Wow, damn. That went way better than I expected. But hey, he knew exactly what he was getting himself into, all right? Not everyone can say the same, because this skier set a world record by accident, and it nearly killed him. Back in 2008, Fred Silverson was shooting a movie on the Alps when one tiny mistake would change his life forever. You see, Fred was skiing down the mountain at 50 miles per hour when suddenly he got his lines mixed up and accidentally launched himself off a cliff. That right there was a 351-foot drop. No skier had ever jumped from that kind of height, especially not on purpose. So at that moment, it seemed like he was done for.
It's nothing bad. Everything is okay. But he jumped a big cliff on the wrong place.
Yeah! By some miracle, he walked away without even a scratch. But the craziest part is, Fred wasn't even trying to make history. He just accidentally survived it. Damn, that's just wild. But you know what's not an accident at all? The fact that Alex Honnold's record is crazy as hell. Because he pulled off the most dangerous climb in human history in record time. See, this is El Capitan, a 3,000-foot summit in Yosemite that takes even the best climbers fully geared up days to complete. But my boy Alex just went for it with nothing but a pair of shoes and a little chalk on his hands. I mean, bro wasn't even wearing a helmet.
He comes from a very humble background, his mom being a teacher and his dad a mountain goat. This man is acting like he can respawn. Do not start a thumb war with that man. This is the type of route parents claim they used to go to school back in their days.
Yeah, dude climbed the world's most challenging wall in the world in just 3 hours and 56 minutes. To prove just how crazy that is, most climbers would still be unpacking their gear while Alex is already chilling at the top. That is nuts! But sometimes having all that speed can go horribly wrong. Cause this man tried to beat a world record, but died trying. See, Bill Warner was a professional motorcycle racer with one mission: to go faster than anyone in history. And in 2011, that's exactly what he did, riding his modified Suzuki Hayabusa to the tune of 311.94 miles per hour. But it turns out, this wasn't really the finish line for Bill. Because after setting this record, he thought of trying something even crazier, hitting 300 miles per hour in a single mile. And if Bill accomplished this, he was planning on retiring from racing for good. So he spent the next 2 years chasing it, even surviving a crash in 2011 that could have easily ended it all. But in July 2013, he returned to the very same track in Maine for one final attempt, when tragedy struck.
He was going 287 at the mile marker when his bike suddenly veered hard to the right and went off the runway. He was launched 40 feet high and 100 yards down the track. Warner was conscious and talking as he was taken to the hospital, but he was pronounced dead at Cary Medical Center at 11:15, which was about an hour after his fateful run.
Yeah, and as of the making of this video, Bill's record remains unbroken. Damn. I can't believe it. And I can't believe Richard Noble either, because this man set a record for driving faster than the speed of sound. See, not only did Rich break a land speed record in the 80s, but in the 90s, he wanted to do something that the world had never seen before. So he assembled a team of designers, engineers, and even a fighter jet pilot to build this, the Thrust SSC, a jet-powered car equipped with 2 enormous engines, the same kind used in military aircrafts, weighing over 10 tons. Stretching 54 feet long and producing more than 50,000 pounds of thrust. This thing literally packed the power of 140 Formula One cars. And its sole purpose is not only to set a new speed record, but to become the first land vehicle to break the sound barrier. So on October 15th, 1997, out in the Black Rock Desert of Nevada, pilot Andy Green hit the throttle.
He's rolling.
The average for the 2 runs was 763 miles an hour. But more important, they were both faster than the speed of sound.
Just like that, it didn't just break a record, it broke the laws of physics. Because to this day, it's still the fastest car in history. But look, man, we've heard a lot of impossible records so far, and yet we've got one that tops them all. The deadliest record in human history. See, when it comes to pushing the limits, no category is more lethal than the water speed record.
As he approached 270 miles per hour, the boat broke in 2. Taylor's body went 300 feet down to the bottom of the lake. Another life lost to the water speed record.
Yeah, since the 1940s, there have only been 7 official attempts to break the water speed record, 5 of which ended in tragedy. That's a 70% fatality rate, which sounds insane, unless you're this guy.
They told me it's about 50-50 as far as the record goes.
Isn't this, for a man with a wife and family, isn't this some sort of madness to chance your life in a 50-50 way?
I don't think so. I think I'm going to be one of the lucky 50, not the unlucky 50.
You see, Ken Warby wasn't some millionaire racer with an elite team or fancy garage. The dude built his own boat out of plywood and fiberglass right in his own backyard. And in 1977, when his homemade boat hit the water, it left the record books in its wake, reaching a top speed of 289 miles per hour and smashing a decade-old record. But for Ken, that still wasn't enough, because less than a year later, he didn't just break the record again, he blew it out of the water, clocking a top speed so extreme, people didn't even think it was possible.
A new world water speed record, and still on the mark today at an average of 317.6 miles per hour.
317! My God! A record no one's been able to break and make it out alive! But look, it's not just extreme records that can kill you, because there are some deadly restaurants too. From a restaurant with over 110 health code violations to another that literally kills people. It's ridiculous what some restaurants have going on. Look, if you want to hear more, then you need to click on this video right here. These are the world's most dangerous restaurants. And trust me, man, this video's a banger, all right? Click.
Oh, 12 minutes, okay, it's not that long. So we can actually watch the video. We can actually watch the video.
Let Amplify take you where ordinary doesn't dare.
Shout out, y'all. Still locked in.
I'm about to show you a restaurant that literally kills its customers. I wish I was kidding. In this video, you'll see how a single McDonald's racked up 843 police calls in just 1 year. How a Chinese buffet was banned for hundreds of health code violations, and every other dangerous restaurant in between. All the way down to the pizzeria on top of an active volcano at level 1. Yeah, this is Pacaya Volcano, one of Guatemala's most active volcanoes, which, for some reason, is also where someone decided to open a damn pizza restaurant. And I know that sounds crazy, but ever since the 2021 eruption, Chef Mario made it his mission to cook the most dangerous pizza on the planet. So he went to work, slapping on his heat-proof gloves, yellow protective goggles, and every morning at 5 a.m., he packs his pans and pizza dough, loads up his ATV, and heads straight to the top of the volcano to serve the hottest pizza known to man. And at first, tourists were terrified. I mean, with lava temperatures reaching nearly 2,000 Fahrenheit, I'm already not trying to go anywhere near that thing, let alone eat on one. But even that's still nowhere near as dangerous as the restaurants coming up. Cause what if I told you there's a place that serves chicken wings so spicy, they nearly killed someone? Yeah. See, in Sarasota, Florida, there's an infamous hole-in-the-wall restaurant called Munchie's 420 Cafe. But what it's really known for is the Fire in Your Hole Challenge. I'm talking 10 ghost pepper wings, 20 minutes on the clock, and heat from hell itself. In fact, attempting this is so dangerous, they even make you sign a waiver before your first bite. Because not only are these peppers the hottest in the world, hitting over 1 million Scoville units, but they're also the same ingredient used in pepper spray and police grenades. And not only that, but the level of heat can cause severe burns, fainting, trouble breathing, and in some cases, cardiac arrest. Yeah, so as you can imagine, almost everyone who takes this challenge ends up cooked. I mean, even dudes who do this for a living found out the hard way. Cause on Man vs. Food, Adam Richman thought he had it in the bag, but one bite in, and bro realized he just made the biggest mistake of his life.
I was so jacked up in the bathroom of the place that my tongue had swollen, my nasal passages had swollen. This is not to be trifled with.
Jesus Christ! You couldn't pay me to eat that! And no amount of money could get me to eat this next meal. Cause for some strange reason, people in Japan have an obsession with the world's most poisonous dish. Yeah. See, this place is serving up something so deadly, one wrong cut in the kitchen could be your last. I'm talking about the puffer fish. AKA fugu.
The FDA has identified the pufferfish species that killed 1 and sickened 8 others in Nantou last month, which is so toxic that just 1 or 2 slices of its meat can be fatal.
No joke, it's loaded with a poison so strong it can shut down your nervous system in seconds. And not only is it 1,200 times
fuck are the Japanese people eating this shit?
More lethal than cyanide, but one fish alone contains enough toxins to kill 30 people. Well, damn, that's not very nice. In fact, fugu's responsible for more than 50,000 poisonings and 6 deaths every single year. And that's why to even be allowed to serve this thing, chefs have to train for years, passing brutal exams, knife tests, and even taste trials, all just to earn a government license that proves they won't accidentally kill you. That's insane. But speaking of setbacks, if you're not careful chowing down here, there's a good chance you'll lose a limb. See, in Hanoi, there's a bunch of restaurants located in the most ridiculous place possible. Yeah, sitting literally inches away from a goddamn runaway freight train. And surprisingly, this was actually a good decision, because it ended up attracting tons of tourists from all over the world. So for the local restaurants, this was a huge W. I mean, customers came for the food, but stayed for the near-death experience. But eventually, it all came crashing down. Because fast forward to 2022, and things had gotten out of hand. Tourists were acting reckless, influencers were getting way too close to the tracks, and it looked like people wanted to take a one-way train ride to heaven. So after seeing stunts like these, the city of Hanoi had no other choice but to shut down the train street for good. And it's been off limits ever since. Man, you'd think people would want to be more careful, but instead, we've got places like this, the most dangerous McDonald's in the world.
Why are bananas wrapped in plastic? Steve, that's a question that's been haunting you. Find out why on What's the Difference?
The fast food restaurant is ranked 2nd in the capital in most calls for police. In 2018, police received more than 843 calls, a stark increase from the 647 in 2014.
Yeah, this is Rideau Street, Ottawa. A McDonald's that's built a reputation so bad, it was basically a war zone. And in 2023, after more than 40 years of service, it all came to an end. And it wasn't over some moldy fries or bad burgers. Nah, this place was putting people's lives in danger. You see, between 2014 and 2018, there were over 4,000 crimes committed at this single spot. That's more than 1,000 a year. I'm talking massive brawls, naughty rizzings in the bathroom. Hell, they even arrested people for not being subscribed to the channel. Yeah! It was ridiculous. But in 2018, one moment changed everything and turned this place into a global headline. Wait a minute. Run that clip back. Was that a raccoon? I thought they still trash, not fight it. So after the video racked up millions of views, people online went nuts. News outlets started trashing it, saying they needed to pull it together or close down. I mean, things got so out of control that the Ottawa police chief literally begged the McDonald's president for help. Until finally, they officially decided to pull the plug and shut the place down for good, restoring peace to the city, with locals coming together for one final farewell. But look, what if I told you there's one dangerous restaurant that will never close? Yeah, I know that sounds pretty weird, but Waffle House isn't your ordinary restaurant. Let me explain. See, if you've never heard of it, it's a southern restaurant chain in America, famous for their delicious food, friendly staff, and violent crime.
With breaking news tonight, a shocking scene at a Waffle House.
The 24-hour chain and its huge yellow signs have become infamous for rowdy late-night crowds and all-out brawls.
A Waffle House worker says she is scared to go back to work after a gunman carjacked her on her break.
Caught on video, a Waffle House customer attacked by 2 men.
All these different people getting arrested at a Waffle House.
A big brawl breaks out at a popular local restaurant.
Holy crap! And when you combine the fact that most Waffle Houses are in high crime areas and stay open 24/7, it's no surprise that one location in Indiana was robbed 4 times in 3 months. But this is where things get freaky. Cause remember when I said they never close? Well, the US government literally made a scale based on that called the Waffle House Index. And it's actually used to measure how bad a disaster really is. Meaning, if a Waffle House ever does close down, those people are probably in deep And look, never closing doors is one level of crazy, but it gets way more twisted than that, because one China buffet thankfully did shut down after racking up more health violations than any other restaurant in history. See, in 2016, health inspectors started hearing rumors about a Florida restaurant going viral for all the wrong reasons.
It's fish on the floor.
Yeah, I'm talking meat lying on the floor, dirty utensils, and multiple cases of food poisoning. So when they finally showed up to investigate, it was somehow even worse than they imagined. I mean, this nightmare of an establishment was crawling with cockroaches. The kitchen was covered in mold, and some employees apparently hadn't even washed their hands all day. How they figured that out, I genuinely don't want to know. But that was only the beginning, because after hours of searching the premises, inspectors found a live rat in the kitchen, animal feces all over the floor, and an insane 110 health code violations. 110! Jesus! So immediately after making that discovery, inspectors obviously had to shut China Buffet down. But just like the cockroaches, China Buffet wasn't going anywhere. They'd reopen and close multiple times for 9 years straight, and each time they managed to rack up even more violations. So eventually, after multiple failed rebrands and 546 health violations later, a reporter finally showed up to see what was really going on. But China Buffet had different plans.
I want to talk to somebody about the inspection.
Can't touch the camera.
Oh,
That's
hang
assault.
on, hang on,
That's
hang
assault.
on, hang on.
That's assault. That's assault. Hey!
God damn! This man served up a knuckle sandwich! But this restaurant is serving up something even better, because every single chef here is a convicted criminal, and anyone can eat here. This is San Pedro in Bolivia. And yeah, it looks like any ordinary prison, but don't judge a compound by its cover, because behind these 18-foot high walls is a community so off limits, even the prison guards want no part of it. So as a result, it's got no security, no cell numbers, no rules, and has the highest mortality rate of any prison, with over 4 deaths per month. I mean, this place has dangerous written all over it. And since the Bolivian government doesn't feed its prisoners, the inmates got creative and started their very own prison restaurants. You see, up until 2009, regular people could actually visit San Pedro. Yeah, they could literally buy a tour run by inmates, stop at inmate-run restaurants, and have sit-down meals with inmates. But after crime in San Pedro became too much to handle, the Bolivian government stepped in and shut the gates for good. But look, I think it's time we talk about the notorious restaurant that actually makes money from killing its customers.
I'm dying.
Oh, it's crazy.
Yeah, this is the Heart Attack Grill, a hospital-themed diner in Las Vegas, where the waitresses dress as nurses, and every menu item is named after a medical emergency. But the real reason this diner is successful is disturbing. Meet John Basso, a former fitness coach who spent years trying to get people in shape. But after realizing nobody was actually willing to follow his advice, the dude had enough and decided to give the people what they really wanted. Food that went against everything he ever taught. Because at the Heart Attack Grill, they don't just serve cheeseburgers. They serve octuple bypass burgers, stacked 8 patties high, deep fried in pure lard, and topped with bacon and butter for good measure. And if you weigh over 350 pounds, you eat for free. Yeah, but this is where things get crazy, because people didn't just come close to dying. They actually did multiple times. You see, between 2011 and 2013, 2 customers actually died in connection to this place, including 52-year-old regular John Alleyman, who collapsed on a sidewalk right outside just minutes after finishing his meal. And instead of changing anything, John doubled down by literally putting the ashes of that customer inside the restaurant as a warning, and bragged about it on camera.
Death is great for business at the Heart Attack Grill. We're past the point of no return at the Heart Attack Grill. We have blood on our hands at this point.
Now that's crazy. But it gets even more twisted than that, because the deadlier the Heart Attack Grill got, the more viral it became. Like, people were literally flying in from across the world just to risk their life for a burger. And some of them sadly never made it back home. Damn, talk about a life-changing experience. But the people going down these slides found that out the hard way. From a water slide that decapitated someone, to one that got shut down just hours after opening. It's insane these things even pass testing. Look, if you want to hear more, you need to click on this video right here. These are the world's most dangerous slides. Trust me, it's a banger.
Fuck, okay, this does sound like a dope ass video.
A slide that literally breaks banks. A slide with more lawsuits than reviews. And a slide that literally killed someone. Yeah, these are the world's most dangerous banned slides. And I had to dig through the depths of the internet to find them. Starting with a slide so dangerous, it got shut down just 4 hours after opening. See, back in 2022, Belle Isle Park in Detroit reopened its legendary 50-foot metal slide. Only this time, it may have gone a bit overboard with the wax, because what was supposed to be a smooth ride down turned into a high-speed death trap. Jesus! This slide was straight up bodying people, and it caused so much chaos, it became a viral news story.
2 words, giant slide.
I heard some groans.
There were some groans, there were some pops and snaps.
Yeah, dude.
Apps in the body too.
As you were going down the slide, what was going through your mind?
Man, I'm finna die.
But even after knowing all that, the line only kept getting longer, and the injuries kept piling up, with some exceptions.
I'd rather check myself before I wreck myself.
Well said, kid. Well said. So by the end of the day, after countless people got hurt, Park ended up closing the slide down before things got any worse. Man, that's just ridiculous. But what if I told you there's a slide so infamous, it got its own Wikipedia page and became a viral meme? You see, this was once a regular slide at the Boston City Hall Plaza. That was until August of 2023, when a cop went down and accidentally broke the internet. Holy crap! The man got rocked so hard he lost his ammo and his handcuffs. And when the internet saw this video, they immediately needed answers. You had people questioning physics, asking for a Mythbusters reboot. Hell, some even wanted the slide arrested. I mean, no one could understand how a grown man could shoot out of a slide like a damn cannonball. So what did people do? They started traveling from around the country to try it for themselves.
How does a child go down that?
But it didn't stop there, because the cop slide became so popular that even full-grown men with PhDs couldn't figure out the science behind it.
It requires more exploration, scientific exploration to see what's really going on.
Damn, I can't believe it. And I can't believe this one either, because is it just me, or did this guy just lose a limb? What the hell? Bro really got launched off this thing before even reaching the bottom. But at least the chaos only lasted 8 seconds. Now this...
Holy shit. Holy shit.
Is it just me? Or did this guy just lose a limb? What the hell? Bro really got launched off this thing?
This corner, boy. This corner right here, dog. Nah, this corner took him out.
Before even reaching the bottom. But at least the chaos only lasted 8 seconds. Now this next slide, on the other hand, gives you plenty of time to rethink your life choices. Because at 30 meters long and towering 14 meters high, the slippery dip looks fun. But for this guy right here, it's just one giant regret.
Dan Duncan suffered a fractured leg, the worst of numerous injuries needing attention from paramedics. Dan's already had surgery but won't be able to go back to work for 4 months.
Skydiving, horse riding, jet skiing, all that sort of thing, but yeah, the slippery dip got me.
Poor guy had his dreams and his spine crushed. So Park official...
Bro, like, but you understand the type of people who get hurt from this shit are like dead. Like, this guy's already doing skydiving. Like, you're gonna
Officials were left with no choice but to temporarily shut it down. And today, it's officially banned. Now on the topic of reckless rides, I bet you didn't know there was one in Spain that set a record for the fastest teardown in slide history. Yeah, this is Tobogán de Estepona, aka one of the dumbest slides ever designed. Like, this thing wasn't even built for fun. It was designed to help people get from one street to another.
Oh shit.
What the? Did someone really think replacing stairs with a slide was a good idea? But it only gets worse from here, because this wasn't just any ordinary slide. I'm talking 128 feet of stainless steel, 3 sharp turns, an insanely steep angle, and oh yeah, It's sitting right above a freaking pile of rocks. I mean, this slide was such a disaster. It left people with broken legs, fractured arms, and outraged an entire community, leading to a full teardown just 24 hours after it opened. But hey, if they're handing out records for stupid slides, this one deserves a trophy, because it's literally been called the most dangerous slide in the whole Japan. See, on a good day, it's already a rough ride. It starts off smooth, but then the curves get sharper. The slide picks up speed, and all of a sudden, you're getting your skeleton rearranged. But when the rain hits, that's when the real danger begins. Because with nothing to stop you, riders get yeeted out of the bottom faster than that. So eventually, after enough broken bones and viral videos of people getting wrecked, Japan hit it with the ban hammer. Man, this slide had me in the first half, I'm not gonna lie. But I wish I was lying about this next slide, because it's been hit with so many lawsuits, you'd think the designers were trying to kill someone. Back in 2020, Whitehall, Pennsylvania's Mammoth Park unveiled two 100-foot metal slides, twisting all the way down a hill, and the town was hyped. But just a month later, the slide was already catching some heat. I mean, hell, you had people claiming they suffered compression fractures in their vertebrae, deep bruising, and were left with anxiety and depression. So by August 2020, the county had no choice but to step in and make safety improvements. So they spent $30,000 adding a rubber padding at the bottom, handrails, barriers to keep people away from rocks, warning signs, and even a video on how to use the slides safely. Damn, that's a lot of money for 2 kid slides. And after nearly a year of upgrades, the slides finally reopened in June of 2021. And that's when the real controversy kicked off.
Slides have been at the center of several lawsuits since they were installed 4 years ago.
Just after 4 years of operation, the slides got the city sued 8 different times. And somehow, they're still open to this day. That's crazy. But there's some slides that take crazy to a dangerous level. Cause there was once a theme park so unhinged, it packed the world's deadliest slides into a single day pass. See, in 1978, a man named Eugene Mulvihill opened Action Park in Vernon, New Jersey. And this place was unlike anything anyone had ever seen before. 3 different lands, 75 rides. It had everything. Well, everything except a basic regard for safety. I mean, first of all, the park didn't even have real insurance. And on top of that, the staff were undertrained, underage, and sometimes even drunk. Allegedly. But even worse than that, the rides looked like they were thrown together in someone's garage because they were.
Many of the rides were experimental, and on paper the design looked good. But in reality, once the ride was turned on, it was not fit for a safe ride by the average person in public.
Take the Alpine Slide, for example. Between 1984 and 1985 alone, it racked up 14 fractures and 26 head injuries. And that's not even counting the time it actually killed someone. And that's just one of many. Because over at the park's infamous grave pool, they had 12 lifeguards on duty at all times, and they still couldn't keep up. I mean, it got so bad at one point that on busy weekends, they were rescuing up to 30 people. Until one day, when a 15-year-old didn't make it. Now, you'd think all these fatalities would cause the park to shut down, but instead, they remained open. And over the next 5 years, 3 more people died. Yeah, this place killed 6 people. That's insane. And yet somehow, Action Park continued to rake in the money, pulling over 1 million visitors a year. But in the 90s, their sketchy operation finally caught up with them. Injury settlements were piling up. The company fell into massive debt, and they were forced to sell the park, which was rebranded as the safer, more family-friendly Mountain Creek Water Park. But fast forward to the 2010s, when the founder brought it back, and the madness returned, with their iconic Cannonball Falls making a comeback. A slide that straight up launched people into a 10-foot deep pool. People were getting hurt from day one. And by 2015, it had become the #1 source of pain in the entire park, with 1 recorded injury every week. So that's when the state stepped in and pulled the plug, banning it for life. But look, that slide ran for decades before anyone shut it down. Now imagine a slide so insane that even Action Park banned it all the way back in 1985. This is the Cannonball Loop, a slide so ridiculous, all it takes is one look at the thing to know it was a terrible idea.
There was a water slide that held one person that went in a flip.
It looked like a bunch of kids built it because that's what it was. A bunch of kids built it.
Yeah, this was the first ever looping water slide in the world. And it was built the only way Action Park knows how, with zero logic, by a man with no engineering background. You see, initial testing started out with crash dummies that came back with missing limbs and heads. So naturally, that meant it was ready for phase 2, paying employees $100 to try it for themselves. And what do you know? The results weren't any better. Because not only did the loop hit riders with up to 9 Gs of force, which by the way is the kind of thing fighter pilots train for, but people started coming out with mysterious cuts, which just so happened to be human teeth stuck in the slide's interior. I mean, some people didn't even make it to the other side, getting stuck at the top and forcing the park to install an emergency escape hatch. But even with all these problems, the ride still remained open for 2 years until July of 1985, when it was finally shut down.
How did that happen, though?
Action Park had a big problem, but Kansas City had an even bigger problem, and it was
How
called...
were they able to run the park for 2 years without anyone closing it down, bro? And it was clearly like a safety hazard.
Verrucht. Because this slide was so crazy, it literally killed someone. Yeah, standing at 168 feet tall and launching riders up to 70 miles per hour. This thing was designed to leave every other water slide in the dust. In fact, when it opened in 2014, it was the tallest water slide ever made. I mean, from day one. It was built to make history, and it did, just for all the wrong reasons. You see, the lead designer, John Schooley, had no formal engineering background, and instead of careful calculations, he relied on good old-fashioned trial and error. Like if something went wrong during testing, they just tweak it a little and set another raft down. And the problems? They were adding up pretty fast. No joke. Rafts were flying in the air one after another. So to fix it, they kept raising the second hill to force them back down. But they didn't just make the landings worse, it made the speeds totally unpredictable. Instead of redesigning the whole slide like they should have, they threw up some netting and metal hoops over the track. So yeah, if you went airborne, you had a way bigger problem. But despite all these issues, the park pushed ahead with construction, scrambling to finish before opening day. So when Verrucht finally opened to the public, it didn't take long for people to start getting hurt. I mean, in just 2 years, at least 13 people were seriously injured. And the entire time, the park decided to do absolutely nothing about it. Not even when staff reported the slide's braking system was failing, just days before tragedy struck. Yeah. See, on August 7th, 2016, 10-year-old Caleb Schwab was at the park with his family when he and his brother decided to ride Verrucht for the very first time. This was supposed to be one of the most thrilling experiences of this kid's life, but instead, it was his last.
In Kansas City, Kansas, tragedy on Schlitterbahn's Verrucht.
We are saddened to share that a young boy died.
And investigators can now confirm Caleb Schwab was decapitated by the Verrucht slide at KCK's Schlitterbahn Park.
A criminal investigation followed, and the ride never opened again. The pup
Decapitated? That boy lost his entire head. That boy lost his entire head, Brody.
public called it a death trap, families called it negligence, and the park called in the demolition crew. So today, there's nothing left of Verrucht, and no one's dared to build anything like it since.
Now they shootings, huh? If that shit's gonna be decapitating kids' heads, boy.
Just wait a minute.
That shit should be put down, boy. That shit should be put down. Why am I not playing games? Oh yeah, I'm streaming content. Fortnite.
Of the
Fortnite. What is this? Fortnite or GTA? Is this like the loading screen? Now let's look for some shit else. King Azule's wife. Dog, these bitches, boy. What the fuck is that? Why would you touch that disgusting ass thing? You see that shit's disgusting. Why would you touch that shit? Shit, that shit is making my fucking...
Leaf face. There are some animals you can't help but want to snuggle up to. However, there are a lot more creatures out there.
Oh, god damn.
That out there
disgusting.
you should avoid touching, let alone snuggle. And not just because they ain't cute. From acids spraying arachnids to fiery furballs, and even newts who possess a sinister superpower. Get your safety gloves on, as we take a look at some of the most dangerous animals out of the depths of hell. Yet, the dangerous defense mechanism of these beastly bugs is even more spine-chilling. When threatened, the vinegaroon sprays a sour-smelling liquid from the glands on its abdomen. But it doesn't just smell bad. That menacing mist is...
No, guys, I don't want to watch anything disgusting. My shit's already moving. My blood skins are already moving. 30 most unbelievable questions of all time.
Video. We all jump from time to time, whether it's off a...
Nah. Death on the job. The worst accidents on... Okay, let's watch this video.
I was frightened too. Your muscles start to contract, trying to force you to open your mouth to breathe, and you're fighting against that.
Hey guys, Jared here. Getting a new job can feel like a new chapter in your life, but in some cases, it can also be the last. Whether it's due to a lack of training, improper safety protocols, or a company's negligence, some workplaces are prone to serious accidents. Today we'll be looking at some of the worst workplace accidents in human history. Warning, viewer discretion is strongly advised, and our deepest condolences go out to the families and friends of the victims featured in today's video. What mistake left 5 divers trapped in an underwater oil pipe? How did a teen get engulfed in a silo? And why did a bread company's greed cost the lives of 2 employees? The mouse hole. 41-year-old Gordon Moffat, a husband and father of 2, had years of experience working on oil rigs. On October 9th, 2000, while aboard the Magellan, 120 miles east of Aberdeen, Scotland, Moffat was tasked with servicing hydraulic hoses. The job itself wasn't too complex, but it did require him to be lifted about 50 feet above the lower deck. Knowing the potential dangers of the job, from explosions to chemical exposure, harsh weather, and even machine failures, Moffat made sure to strap into his safety harness and take his time. Once the job was complete, Moffat radioed the banksman, who worked as the winch operator's eyes and ears. He told them he was ready to be lifted to clear the hoses before being lowered to the deck. Sadly, communication error led to a horrifying accident. After being lifted a few feet, Moffat told the banksman to stop. The message was relayed to the winch operator, but didn't get through to his radio due to a malfunction. The winch operator continued to lift Moffat toward the mouse hole, a 10-inch round hole through which the safety cable runs. As he was being pulled up, both Moffat and the banksman yelled, "Stop," to no avail. The banksman then ran to the emergency intercom to tell the control room to stop the winch. However, because the emergency intercom is recorded, there was a delay, and by the time the winch was shut off, it was too late. Moffat's body had been pulled through the mouse hole, crushing him to death. But the reality of the situation was much more gruesome. His body was so disfigured that he was hardly recognizable. Doctors referred to it as a virtual transection, meaning his lower abdomen had been torn apart. The company implemented new safety protocols, including mandatory permits for high-risk operations and the presence of supervisors and safety personnel on board during these operations. My only survival tip here would be to ensure that all safety protocols are in place before starting a task that you know can be dangerous. Our next workplace accident takes us to another pipeline tragedy, which cost the lives of 4 divers. The Paria diving tragedy. On February 25th, 2022, 5 divers entered the waters off Trinidad and Tobago to repair a leaking U-shaped oil pipeline 60 feet deep and 1,200 feet long. The state-owned pipeline belonging to Paria Fuel Trading Company connected Berth 5 and Berth 6, which are loading docks where oil tankers receive or discharge fuel. The divers, Christopher Boudrum, Kazim Ali Jr., Yusuf Henry, Rishi Nagasser, and Faisal Kurban, worked for LMCS, which Paria had contracted to repair the pipe near Berth 6. An 8-foot by 8-foot air-filled chamber enabled divers to work in a dry environment, even though they were 15 feet underwater. Everything was fine until the team removed an inflatable plug used to prevent oil and gas from escaping. What the team didn't know was that the pipe had been drained weeks earlier, leading to a pressure differential. When they removed the inflatable plug, the pipeline acted as a vacuum, quickly sucking up seawater and the divers into the 30-inch diameter pipe. Battered around and dragged 700 feet, all 5 of the injured divers finally came to a stop. At least 2 were suffering from broken bones, low on oxygen, and covered in oil. Nagasser was too injured to move. The other 4 divers managed to link together, forming a human chain, tucking their feet under the person's shoulders in front of them. At the front of the chain was Budrum, who wasn't as severely injured as his colleagues. As they started making their way up the pipeline, they found 2 oxygen tanks that had been sucked through and shared them. Once they reached the end of an air pocket, Budrum swam ahead to see how far it was until the pipeline curved, an area called the elbow. When he got there, he realized the water wasn't high enough for him to get himself out, so he screamed for help. Fortunately, his screams were heard, and 2 divers came down to pull him up. Budrum told the rescue team his friends were still alive, but badly injured. Volunteer divers were ready to attempt a rescue, but the company in charge stopped them, citing safety concerns.
LMCS stated that it was prevented from conducting such a rescue in the pipeline by Paria, notwithstanding that LMCS had divers and equipment available to conduct the rescue.
Bro, like, yo, but guys, do you see how dangerous it is to work for these big companies, though? Like, these people, they don't give a fuck, bro. Like, all they care about is protecting the image and their brand, gang. Like, people are about to, like, go on a rescue mission, like, nah, don't go in. This is crazy shit, bro.
After assessing the situation, the Coast Guard decided the rescue mission was too risky, but the volunteer divers attempted to enter the pipe anyway. They were stopped by armed guards who claimed that Paria had stated that no one else was allowed in. Paria then decided to try using cameras to see where the men were stuck. At this point, they had been trapped for 9 hours. Despite Paria telling the families of the men that they were doing everything they could to rescue them, it was only a matter of time before things would turn grim, and they'd die due to a lack of oxygen. Desperate to be saved, the trapped divers continued to bang on the pipes, alerting any potential rescue divers that they were still alive.
Is now in your area.
Sadly, help was never going to come. A press conference was held 48 hours after the incident, and Paria announced,
Bro, like, these people are running out of air, like, legit, like, these people are out there having board meetings, bro.
Publicly that the operation had turned into a recovery mission. The 4 divers' bodies were recovered over the next few days, with an autopsy revealing one of the men may have lived for up to 39 hours before passing. This is another situation where negligence led to the untimely death of experienced workers. Had the team known that the pipeline was empty, they likely would have approached the task differently. Working in the ocean isn't the only place where accidents like these can happen. Our next story killed more than 100 workers due to, you guessed it, negligence. The Vaal Reefs mining disaster. On May 10th, 1995, miners were chipping away inside the Vaal Reefs mine in Orkney, South Africa. Known for its gold resources, the mine was one of the country's most precious at the time. In 1994, it yielded more than 155,000 pounds of the mineral, worth $845 million. With dozens of levels and hundreds of miles of tunnels, this place was like an underground maze. To ensure productivity, the mine had 2-tier elevators, which could transport hundreds of workers at a time. It also had an underground train to move materials and supplies. Around 10:30 p.m., 104 miners were riding one of the elevators during a shift change. As they were rising, a 2,400-pound train came barreling down the shaft, landing on top of the elevator and snapping its support cable. Both the packed elevator and train continued to drop over 1,600 feet before smashing into the ground. Within seconds, over 100 miners were dead at the bottom of Shaft 2. Describing the horrific scene, James Motlotzi, president of the National Union of Mine Workers, told the press, "Pieces of flesh were scattered all over as a 2-floor mining elevator was crushed into a 1-floor tin box. The imagery of that makes me sick to my stomach. But it gets worse. Due to the extreme heat of the mine, the bodies quickly started to decompose, making some of the victims unrecognizable. Over the course of 2 days, just over half of the bodies were recovered. Following the tragedy, an investigation was launched. It was determined that there were no safety blocks in Shaft 2, which would have prevented the train from entering the wrong tunnel. Evidence also showed that a detaching hook snapped upon impact with the train, causing the elevator to plummet. This led the South African Society in Mining Research Council to require detaching hooks to become more sturdy under significant impact and to be able to hold at least 11,000 pounds. It seems those involved in the mine would have been killed instantly by the force, but our next victim likely suffered a slower, more painful death, with rescue workers comparing it to being swallowed by quicksand.
A couple different occasions he said, you know, Mom, he's got us going into the silo. He knew it wasn't right, but yet he continued to do it because that's what his job was.
On May 30th, 2011, most Americans were making plans on how they would spend Memorial Day. However, Thomas Osier of Michigan saw it as just another day at work. The 18-year-old high schooler worked on a local farm, and on this particular day, was assigned to work inside one of the corn silos at Pine Grove Farm, a job that is known to come with the risk of being engulfed by the grain. Sadly, that's exactly what happened to Thomas. As he was scraping off corn stuck to the silo walls, the grain underneath him gave way, swallowing him. Patrick Pickvitt, who was shoveling corn at the base of the silo, first realized something was wrong when he saw Tommy's iron rod slide out the bottom door. Then came Tommy's cell phone, and finally, Pickvitt saw the 18-year-old's leg. Despite his best efforts, the weight of the corn was too heavy for Pickvitt to pull Tommy out. When emergency authorities arrived on scene, they also had trouble pulling Tommy from the silo. Finally, after more than 4 hours, they were able to retrieve his body. It took a total of 35 emergency personnel and farm workers to do so. The details of what his remains looked like were heartbreaking.
What broke my heart the most was to see it had completely dislodged his jaw. You know, to see his form, you know, his physical form, and his jaw was completely dislodged, and the corn had impacted so much it was in his lungs. The corn was in his lungs.
That sounds like something straight out of a horror movie. Following Tommy's death, an investigation was launched. The farm's owner, Dave Schwab, was fined $7,000. After Schwab posted warning signs and fixed the augers on the silo floor, which helps the corn flow more easily, the fine was cut in half. To survive a situation like this, you'd need to create an air pocket with your hands by covering your mouth while waiting to be rescued. But with the sheer force...
Open your mouth, that's the solution.
...of the grain pushing up against you, it would be a race against the clock.
I'm stuck. Yeah. At this point, I'm not getting out.
It's amazing, the pressure that's there.
Most farms make sure their workers wear safety harnesses when entering silos, but for some smaller operations, this isn't always the case. Before we move on to another horrible workplace accident, make sure to like and subscribe for more life-saving content.
Authorities say 17-year-old Isaiah Beddox of Copley died yesterday after he was pulled into a commercial wood chipper in North Whitehall.
On August 9th, 2022, Isaiah Beddox and a friend were working together at a summer job for a tree cutting company in Lehigh County, Pennsylvania. Beddox was a month away from entering his 4th year at Lehigh Career and Technical Institute for Automotive Mechanics. Tasked with removing 10 trees from a property, Beddox and his friend got to work. Sadly, Isaiah was pulled into the wood chipper after a piece of his clothing got caught on the machine itself. Within seconds, he suffered significant injuries. According to reports, the incident occurred around 1:35 p.m., and emergency personnel were on site within 10 minutes. After seeing the severity of his injuries, which included an amputated leg, an emergency helicopter was called in. While waiting to be airlifted to the hospital, Isaiah was drifting in and out of consciousness. Sadly, he was officially pronounced dead at 2:55 p.m. His death was ruled accidental. Ben Kirkpatrick, one of the EMS workers on the scene, explained, "That was the most gruesome call I've ever run." Surviving an accident with machinery is situational, but in any case, you should always turn the machine off immediately. If your hand or foot gets caught, don't try to pull it out because this can do more harm than good, especially if you're bleeding profusely. Call emergency services and, if possible, apply a tourniquet to stop the bleeding. Isaiah's death was an unfortunate tragedy. Our next workplace accident also involves machinery, but this one could have easily been prevented. Baked alive in a bread oven. On May 18, 1998, 47-year-old David Mays and 44-year-old Ian Erickson, both engineers, were expecting to repair a belt inside a bread oven at the Fresha Bakeries factory in Leicester, England. The grid on the oven's conveyor belt had dislodged and fallen to the bottom. The two men were asked to climb inside and reposition it. I think you see where I'm going with this one. When operating, the belt reached 500 degrees and took 17 minutes to pass through the oven. Given the incredible heat, the workers knew they needed to let the oven cool off before entering, and were under the impression it had been off for some time before they crawled in. Sadly, they were wrong. Within 5 minutes, the men were screaming into their walkie-talkies that the oven was too hot. With no way of reversing the conveyor belt, Mays and Erickson were forced to endure agonizing pain being burnt alive while the belt made its way through the oven over the course of 17 minutes. Erickson was pulled out of the other side of the oven by factory workers and died in front of their eyes. Mays is believed to have passed out and was killed due to 80% burns over his body and multiple fractures since he was caught inside the machinery. The saddest part of all of this is that the men died because the factory's management prioritized profits over the safety of their employees. This was revealed in 2001, when the company and management were taken to court. It was determined that the two men had entered the oven just 2 hours after it was shut off, despite the fact that it would have taken 12 hours for it to cool before it was deemed safe to enter. Using fans to cool the outside of the oven, the men believed it was okay to enter, as the temperature showed 104 degrees. The company also decided not to remove the oven's side panels to save on the cost, requiring the men to enter through the front of the oven. Our last workplace accident may be the most gruesome of all. The Russian lathe accident. In November 2020, a man working in a factory in Russia died while operating an industrial lathe. The footage is incredibly disturbing, and we will not be showing it here. I think once you see the animation, you'll understand why. For those unaware, a lathe is a versatile machine used in many industries. Its function is to shape materials, including wood, metal, and plastic. It does so by spinning these materials at an incredibly high speed while grinding and pressing them against a cutting tool. The details of what happened in this situation are unclear, but based on video evidence, a worker got too close to the machine and was pulled in. Within seconds, pieces of the man started flying all over the place. By the time another employee was able to activate the emergency shutoff, it was far too late. The victim was completely dismembered, with bone and flesh scattered across the machine and factory floor. Now, we had to tone down the animation a bit, so I'll just let you guys use your imaginations with this one. Unfortunately, I don't have a practical survival tip to offer here, aside from exercising extreme caution when working with such dangerous machinery. If the machine had safety barriers around it, such as fencing, then the chances of this happening would have been significantly reduced. Proper training should also be required to ensure workers know how to operate and respond in the event of an emergency. But even then, it seems like nothing could have been done to save this man. The sad reality of many of these stories is that with proper training and protocols, many of the victims could still...
Shout out you guys, be sure I get them subs up, man. Be sure I get them subs up. It's your boy. Man, those videos were very... Those videos were something else. Those videos were something else. Rapper tells the dark reason he left the record label. What did Satan wants him? When pirates attack a luxury cruise ship, this is how they defend. How do they defend?
Struggling with a stubborn wet cough? Don't let it slow you down. Choose the
for joining me at this show
right
nights,
Benelin.
1 a.m. the side boy.
Hey there! Welcome back to the Noctis on YouTube. For many people, dreaming of sailing on a big and luxurious cruise ship has been a lifelong dream. Cruising across...
I won't lie, bro. I'm afraid of the water, bro. As much as the idea of hopping on a cruise ship is exciting, bro, like, I just can't fathom, bro, like, being close to the water, bro. I can't swim, boy. I don't want to drown, bro.
across the blue oceans with unmatched levels of luxury and comfort has attracted a large number of tourists. These giants are often called floating cities because they offer facilities such as restaurants and bars, Broadway shows, casinos.
But you're not telling us how you guys defend if a pirate ship was to attack. That's what we're trying to get.
Nightmare. One of the dangers often faced by civilian ships is pirate attacks. Pirates usually target ships carrying valuable goods, such as cargo, tankers, or passenger ships. Pirates are often armed and are not afraid to use violence to...
But that's every ship though. If they're gonna take cargo ship, carrier ships, and civilian ships, that's every type of ship, most.
To achieve their goals. One area that is known for pirate activity is the Gulf of Aden, which lies between Yemen and Somalia. The Gulf of Aden is an important shipping route that connects the Red Sea to the Indian Ocean. Many cruise ships pass through this region en route to tourist destinations in Asia or Africa. Passing through the Gulf of Aden also means facing the danger of Somali pirates, who are known as one of the most brutal and active pirate groups in the world. According to the International Maritime Bureau, from 2008 to 2012, there were 149 cases of pirate attacks in the Gulf of Aden, with 179 ships hijacked and 3,741 crew members taken hostage. What happens if a cruise ship is attacked by pirates? How do cruise ships protect themselves and their passengers from this threat? And what are some real-world cases that have happened? The most famous case of piracy may be the Seabourn Spirit case in 2005, when it was crossing Somali waters.
What happened to it?
Two armed boats approached the Spirit about 160 kilometers from the Somali coast, firing shots. Passengers panicked and tried to find a safe place on the upper deck. Shortly thereafter, two pirate boats managed to overtake the Spirit and change its course. The ship's captain tried to evade them by creating waves to capsize the pirate boats. At one point, the cruise ship nearly collided with one of their boats. Some passengers managed to record the moment through the window, where pirates were seen holding RPG and machine guns.
Oh, RPGs. Oh, shit. These people have RPGs. Damn. Okay, like, what was going to happen if they had, like, crashed the cruise ship? What was going to happen?
Pirates fired 3 RPG rounds at the stern. Although there was a fire, fortunately the damage was relatively minor and 151 passengers were able to escape without injury. Both pirate boats eventually retreated after the ship's crew used a special sonic device to drive them away. Pirate attacks also happened to MSC Melody. On April 25, 2009, the MSC Melody cruise ship, carrying 991 crew and passengers, was attacked by 6 small boats operated by Somali pirates about 200 miles from Seychelles. The pirates tried to board the ship using ropes and ladders, but were blocked by an Israeli security team hired by the cruise company. The security team fired on the pirates with guns and successfully repelled them. There were no fatalities in this incident, but some passengers suffered trauma from the attack.
Come on, trauma. You'll get over it. You'll get over it. I nearly died. I have trauma. At least you survived, bitch. The fuck? Yo, in the eye. Shit. history's deadliest skydiving accidents. One mistake ended 16 lives, gang. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. That's one person times 16, gang.
Look at history. If we look
Boom closed on your car? Good thing you're naked and can submit claims in minutes on the Naked app. Get naked.
If we look at history, the biggest skydiving accident happened because of a very small mistake. The realization of this mistake only came when 18 skydivers had already jumped from the plane, and now there was no way back. After jumping from the plane, the excitement of all 18 skydivers turned into fear. All of them were experienced skydivers, but unfortunately their years of experience couldn't help them here. In this accident, 16 skydivers lost their lives, and the story told by the 2 survivors made everyone's hair stand on end. Once again, welcome to our new video. Viewers, this accident is remembered today by the world as the Lake Erie disaster. Lake Erie, located in the state of Ohio, is North America's 4th largest and the world's 11th largest lake. To the south of Lake Erie, about 13 kilometers away, there is a small airfield called Outerne Airport. On August 27, 1967, 30 skydivers arrived at this airport because they had been offered a free flight. A B-25 bomber plane, which had been used during World War II and later modified by a private company, was the plane offering this free flight to the skydivers. When the skydivers started boarding one by one, space inside the B-25 bomber became short, and because of the risk of overweight, the pilot at the last moment selected only 20 divers. The selection was based on the experience and level of the divers. The 10 skydivers who were not selected felt disappointed, but little did they know that the pilot's decision would save their lives. The plan was that the B-25 bomber would take off from Outerne Airport, circle upward to reach 20,000 feet, and then drop 18 divers over the same airport. After that, it would climb higher, and the last 2 divers would jump from an altitude of 30,000 feet. All the divers were supposed to land back at Outerne Airport with the help of parachutes. Because of bad weather, the flight couldn't take off in the morning, but at 3 p.m., the B-25 bomber finally took off. All the divers sitting inside were extremely excited because firstly, they were getting a free flight, and secondly, it was their first experience jumping from a bomber plane. After the B-25 took off, a small Cessna 180 also took off from the same airport. This plane was supposed to stay at 12,000 feet and capture the skydivers' jumps on camera. Meanwhile, the B-25 carrying the divers kept spiraling upward. Due to the bad weather, both pilots were in contact with the nearest air traffic control tower, which was guiding them with their positions. Finally, after an hour, the B-25 bomber reached an altitude of 20,000 feet. The pilot radioed the control tower to ask for his location. At that time, GPS technology did not exist, so in bad weather, pilots had to rely on the control tower for guidance. The control tower told the B-25 pilot that he was 9 kilometers away from Outerne Airport. According to the map, this meant he was now close to the drop zone. Exactly 1 minute later, the Cessna 180 pilot also contacted the air traffic controller to confirm his position in relation to the B-25, because the bad weather made it impossible for him to see it. The controller told the Cessna pilot that he was 9 kilometers behind the B-25. So on the map, if the B-25 was 9 kilometers away from Outerne Airfield, then the Cessna was 9 kilometers behind the B-25, and therefore 18 kilometers away from Outerne Airport. A few minutes later, at 20,000 feet, the B-25 pilot again asked for his location. This time, the controller told him that he was right above Outerne Airport. At that point, the pilot gave the signal for 18 skydivers to jump. The small mistake that was about to cost the skydivers their lives had already happened, but for now, nobody knew. At this altitude, the temperature was minus 30 degrees Celsius, so all the divers had worn extra layers of jumpsuits. All the skydivers jumped together from the B-25 so they could form their formation during freefall. From that height, they could see a layer of clouds beneath them, and they planned to deploy their parachutes after passing through the clouds. They started enjoying their freefall, but as soon as they passed through the thick cloud layer, their excitement suddenly turned into fear. What they saw below was not land, but the deep waters of Lake Erie stretching as far as the eye could see At that moment, their altitude was about 3,000 feet, and all of them quickly deployed their parachutes, hoping that somehow they might land close to the lake's edge near land. But unfortunately, that didn't happen. The spot where they landed in the water was at least 10 kilometers away from land. They thought that after landing in the
So like, what's the problem? If they land in the water, like, is the parachute going to make it impossible for them to like pass through the water? Like, what? Like, what's the issue here?
Water, they would quickly unbuckle their harnesses, swim, and wait for help. But things didn't go as they imagined. The heavy layers of warm clothing they had worn made it impossible for them to float on the water. Among them, only 2 divers had removed their shoes and extra weight before landing. These 2 divers managed to float for some time and were later rescued. Sadly, the remaining 16 divers did not survive. Their bodies were not seen for several days, and the last body was recovered after a week. This accident made headlines all over the world, and an investigation team was formed to find out the real cause behind it. The main question was, where exactly had the B-25 dropped the divers, and whose mistake was it? The air traffic controller claimed that at the time the B-25 dropped the divers, it was above Outerne Airport, 10 kilometers inland from Lake Erie. They believed strong winds had drifted the skydivers into the lake. It was possible that the skydivers had indeed drifted over Lake Erie. But if for a second we accept the ATC's version, then that would mean the winds had carried the divers a total of 20 kilometers. 10 kilometers from Outerne Airport to Lake Erie, and another 10 kilometers further inside the lake. When experts calculated the wind speed of that day along with the jump altitude, they concluded that the divers could have drifted no more than 5 kilometers, which meant there was definitely something wrong with the ATC's statement. That was the ATC's claim, but the pilots of the B-25 and the Cessna insisted that they had been given the wrong location. Eventually, the investigation revealed that at the very moment when both pilots asked ATC for their positions, there had been a shift change among the controllers. And the second controller mistakenly gave the B-25 the location of the Cessna. In other words, when the B-25 pilot was told he was above Outerne Airport, in reality, the Cessna 180 was above the airport, and the B-25 was above Lake Erie. In addition, the divers and the pilot had made the mistake of jumping without visually confirming the target, which was against aviation laws. In memory of the 16 divers, for the next 2 years, other skydivers deliberately wore floating equipment and landed themselves into Lake Erie. In 1972, the court held the Federal Aviation Authority responsible for the deaths of the 16 divers and permanently suspended the B-25 pilot's license. Moreover, a rule was made for skydivers that they must always remain at least 50 kilometers away from any body of water.
So, they go swimming and they ended up just drowning. Oh, this one looks dope. Let's play this one.
Wingsuit flying is actually safer than it might seem. Don't believe me? Watch till the end. In 2017, Fred Fugen and Vince Raffet performed a mind-blowing stunt where they jumped from the Jungfrau Mountain in the Swiss Alps and flew into a moving Pilatus Porter aircraft. Then there's the Italian wingsuit legend, Robert Mancino, who successfully flew a wingsuit between 2 office buildings in Panama City in 2015.
Is this a girl?
Guess where I found these incredible stories? That's right, on the websites of companies that specialize in wingsuit flying experiences. But of course, beyond the wild adrenaline rush and amazing views, nowhere did these websites mention the dark side of wingsuit diving. For every flyer who has glided through the clouds, there are many stories of those who never made it back to ground safely. You'll forget about the thrill of slicing the air at terminal velocity when you realize how quickly things can go wrong. As always, viewer discretion is advised. This video has garnered attention worldwide, as it captured a truly jaw-dropping moment. On September 29, 2016, Eric Dos Santos, a seasoned wingsuit pilot, embarked on what was supposed to be a routine flight through the French Alps. At the start of the video where Eric is about to take off, everything looks normal in an adventure that was anything but ordinary. With his helmet camera rolling, he even bid a casual au revoir before taking off, unaware of the dramatic turn his flight was about to take.
Okay, au revoir.
As he soared over the snow-capped mountains and jagged cliffs, the camera captured a roller coaster-like descent towards a lush green forest. The beauty of the scene was mesmerizing, with Eric's shadow tracing his path below. A calm, serene picture of the daring dance between man and nature. However, just 51 seconds into the flight, the narrative took a heart-stopping twist. Eric lost his altitude rapidly and unexpectedly. In one moment, what should have been a routine flight almost became an obituary. This footage, directly from Eric's point of view, shows him navigating just above the treetops at an astonishing speed of over 90 miles per hour. As Eric begins to slow down, losing speed and altitude, the absolute worst happens. He collides with a treetop while still cruising at high speed. His camera catches the terrifying moment just before impact, before going black. Somehow Eric miraculously survived this encounter, but the toll on his body was substantial. The fall left him with fractures in his left shoulder blade, the top of his left shoulder, his left collarbone, and 3 ribs on his left side. He also had a bruised neck, a cut liver, head injuries, and several cuts on his head. He even needed a hyperbaric chamber to aid his recovery from the head injuries. But still, he was ridiculously lucky to survive a wingsuit crash at full flight speed without deploying a parachute. Eric is only the second person in the world known to have survived such a devastating accident. Wingsuit flying like Eric involves wearing a specially designed suit that has nylon membranes stretching between the arms, legs, and body, creating aerodynamic surfaces that allow the flyer to glide through the air horizontally, mimicking the graceful flight of birds or bats. Wingsuit flying is especially popular among base jumpers, who seek the purest form of flight without the need for an airplane. Instead, they climb to high elevations like cliffs or tall platforms and jump directly into the air. Once airborne, controlling their flight path requires precise movements. Subtle shifts of their arms or legs can significantly alter their direction and stability. At the end of their flight, wingsuit flyers deploy a small parachute to safely reach the ground. While this might sound straightforward, the reality is that the technique for controlling a wingsuit is highly complex and requires a great deal of skill and practice. Many jumpers struggle with mastering this control, which is critical for safe flight. Even experienced flyers can face challenges due to the unpredictable nature of the sport, where small miscalculations can have serious consequences. It doesn't sound too hard, but in reality, a lot of divers and base jumpers have suffered precisely because they failed to manage this kind of steering. But of course, not all stories of flying in the clouds end with a miracle like Eric dos Santos. In 2018, Amy Jean St. Hilaire Adam, a 27-year-old elite jumper from Canada, was participating in the Wide Open Wingsuit Series. The competition draws the world's most skilled wingsuit pilots, who don high-performance wingsuits to race each other through the sky. On that fateful day, Amy Jean was racing against another jumper when a catastrophic collision between them occurred in midair. One of the hosts of the competition recalled, "They exited on the jump and he and another jumper lost sight of each other, had a moment of instability and had a collision. If they had gone by each other 1 foot apart, they would have missed each other completely and it would have been a non-incident. It was just a combination of different things and bad luck that led to it. All the wrong things happened just at the wrong time and the wrong place." Rendered unconscious by the collision, he was unable to pull the ripcord on his chute. Without the ability to deploy his parachute, he plummeted more than 100 miles per hour, crashing onto the roof of a home in Riverside County, 70 miles east of Los Angeles, California. The impact was devastating. Aimé Jean, known for his more than 1,000 successful jumps, a respected figure in the wingsuit world, well celebrated for his daring and skill, passed away.
His head was down, arms dangling, legs dangling. he had a glider suit on, but you know, his emergency chute or something deployed last second, but he didn't do anything to do that.
Sadly, when something goes wrong during a jump, all that skill, experience, past records, all that goes out the window. The primary danger in wingsuit flying, losing control, isn't quite something you can train for, and jumpers who find themselves in that state survive purely on the whims of the winds, their surrounding, and the altitude at which they lost control. Wingsuit flyers at peak altitude typically reach speeds of over 100 miles per hour. At these speeds, any impact with a solid object, be it the ground or a structure, is extremely severe. The human body is not built to withstand impacts at these high velocities without severe injury or fatality. For Aimé Jean, the mid-air collision that knocked him out cold made him a flying human meteor. Even if he was awake and alert, the chances of surviving a crash at such speeds was already razor thin. But unconscious, he had no chance. In a very real sense, that collision sealed his fate. He was gone before he hit the ground. And just like that, a sport that thrives on adrenaline and precision reminded us of its razor-thin margins for error. On July 27, 2018, the skies over Boulogne-en-Quercy, France, bore witness to a tragic and unusual accident that led to multiple court cases and an actual conviction. Nicolas Galley, at 40 years old, was an accomplished wingsuit diver whose passion for sky-high adventures was well known within the extreme sports community. On that ordinary day, Nicolas embarked on what was supposed to be another thrilling dive from 14,000 feet. Nicolas had leaped from a single-engine Pilatus plane, a common choice for wingsuiters. The dive began routinely as he and another skydiver soared through the air, their wingsuits granting them the freedom to glide like birds. The skies were clear and everything seemed normal, yet in mere moments a bizarre and disastrous sequence of events unfolded. The pilot of the Pilatus, caught up in the rush of the dive sequence, began a rapid descent to circle back for the next group of jumpers. At the same time, Nicolas, fueled by adrenaline, charted a path that would fatally cross with the descending aircraft. The vast sky suddenly became a confined stage for a grave mistake. The aircraft, with its wide wings cutting through the air, was unknowingly on a collision course with Nicolas.
What doing? Just thinking about money stuff, Moose, especially with the baby on the way. And what if it's twins?
Okay, I love you.
I love you too, Moose and...
Goose.
Goose.
As Nicola glided downwards, the pilot, oblivious to the diver's proximity, continued his descent. Just
How long have I been live streaming? 2 hours, 15 seconds.
20 seconds into his dive, the unthinkable happened.
What happened?
Nicolas collided with the plane from which he had just jumped. The impact was brutal and immediate. Striking the plane's wing at such a high altitude and speed was instantly fatal for Nicolas, and he lost his life right on impact. Now, there are multiple red flags about the incident. First, the pilot was flying the plane without a valid license. Second, there was no pre-jump briefing with the skydivers, an oversight that likely contributed to the fatal misunderstanding of flight paths. Finally, the pilot assumed that Nicolas and the other diver were further south than they were. The dreadful accident led to a court case where prosecutors pointed to pilot error as the primary cause of Galley's death, a claim that the pilot contested. He defended his actions by arguing that Galley had strayed off the expected flight path, a route he should not have been on. "I think my flight path made sense," the pilot said during the trial, expressing that while the event was a tragedy, he did not see himself at fault. However, the court found otherwise. The combination of pilot error and an invalid license was too much negligence to overlook, and as a result, he received a 12-month suspended manslaughter sentence and was barred from flying for a year. The most terrifying thing is that Nicholas was just one of 23 people who died from base jumping in 2018. Yes, you heard that right. 23. On average, this might seem like a small number, but when you consider the relatively small number of people who participate in this extreme sport, the fatality rate is alarmingly high. So why do people consciously take such a risk and engage in a pursuit? For some, it's for the adrenaline that comes from pushing the boundaries of safety, but for Uli Emanuele, it was more than just the thrill of cheating death, where every jump could realistically be your last. It was about pushing the limits of what was possible with human flight. Uli Emanuele was known for his extraordinary skill and precision in wingsuit flying. His approach to the sport was almost artistic, constantly striving to perfect his flight path and achieve feats that no one had dared to attempt before. In one of his most breathtaking jumps captured on video, Uli flew through a 6.5 feet wide cave hole opening hole in a mountain in Lauterbrunnen, Switzerland in 2014, a feat that required not only immense bravery, but meticulous planning and precision. His margin for error was razor thin, and even the smallest miscalculation would have seen him crash brutally into a wall on either side of the cave. This jump, like many of his others, was captured on his GoPro camera and has been viewed over 1 million times on YouTube. Uli Emanuele also brought to life another one of his sensational dreams, to fly through a ring of fire. With the help of some friends, they carted the heavy metal contraption high into the Italian Alps. With a little improvisation, the support crew got everything ready just as the wind slowed, allowing Uli to soar through the flaming circle. In August of 2016, Uli Emanuele was in the Dolomites, Italy, ready for what would be one of his most daring wingsuit flights. He chose a particularly challenging route that involved flying through a narrow rock formation. Known for his exceptional skill and confidence in his ability to navigate treacherous terrain, Uli did not hesitate. He leapt from his starting point, soaring with precision and control, as he had done over 60 times before. The flight was going flawlessly, captured on his GoPro camera, with Uli demonstrating why he was considered one of the best in the world at wingsuit flying. He was about to complete another spectacular jump, but then, in a heart-stopping moment, he miscalculated. This slight error in judgment caused him to come too close to the rocks. He lost control, and before he could pull his parachute, Uli collided with the mountain at high speed. It was a devastating impact, and sadly, it was impossible for him to survive. So it turns out even professional wingsuiters aren't immune to accidents, even if they have defied the limits and broken records before, and as proof, there's a story that happened in 2022 to Richard Poucher. Poucher was a professional base jumping instructor with over 20 years of skydiving experience and over 14 years of base jumping experience. From the valleys of Los Angeles to the mountain of Zhangjiajie, China, he had gone diving just about everywhere. He even co-founded a base jumping equipment and instruction company called Apex Base, along with his wife. One sunny day in January 7th, 2022, Poucher and his friend went to a popular jumping spot known as Super Gorgeous in Moab, Utah, a location famed for its breathtaking views of Castle Valley and the Colorado River. This spot was a favorite among experienced jumpers for its challenging terrain, stunning scenery. The plan that day was to perform a proximity flight, a technique used by experienced skydivers who find regular jumps too tame. This technique involved flying as close as possible to the surrounding terrain. As the sun cast long shadows over the valley, Poucher suited up and leapt from the cliff with his characteristic confidence, soaring towards the rugged terrain below. However, not everything went as planned. What exactly happened to Poucher that day is still unclear, as the authorities haven't released details to the public. All we know is that a satellite messaging device he had on his person detected an impact minutes after his jump, and this triggered an emergency SOS call to the authorities. Poucher's companion, who remained at the top of the cliff, also activated a satellite messaging device requesting emergency assistance. Authorities responded immediately, and in the ensuing search and rescue operation, He was later found on a steep talus slope about 1,000 feet below his jump point and about 700 feet above the Colorado River. What happened to this veteran jumper in his final moments is something we will never know. We only know that Richard was found dead after that jump, and he most likely crashed into a rock. But just when you think it can't get even more dangerous, there's an element of wingsuiting where a group will go together instead of a solo flight.
Let Amplify take you where ordinary doesn't dare go.
Best Med Medical Scheme recommends that you skip this video if you're not interested in value for money.
Group jumps.
On April 23, 2014, the extreme sports world was struck by a devastating tragedy involving 3 of its most experienced wingsuit flyers, Dan Vickery, Ludovic Worth, and Brian Drake. The trio, known for their skill, had embarked on a challenging proximity flight from a helicopter in the picturesque Leuchtental Valley in Switzerland. Their plan was to execute a steep flight path just above a ridge, a maneuver that requires flawless execution due to the close proximity to the terrain. Unfortunately, a critical misjudgment occurred. During their descent, they aimed to fly over a steep ridge that would lead them into a more suitable area for landing. Unfortunately, they misjudged their flight path. The group ended up circling around the ridge, which unexpectedly led them only to flat terrain with no suitable areas for safe landing or maneuvering. A dangerous scenario for wingsuit flyers who rely on steeper descents to maintain lift and control. In a desperate attempt to correct their course, they took a sharp left turn, aiming for a section of steeper downhill terrain that had initially been obscured by the ridge. This was their fatal mistake. The sudden change in direction brought them too close to the ground too quickly. Tragically, all 3 flyers misjudged their altitude and the distance to the terrain. Vickery and Drake were a little over 30 feet away from reaching the safety of the slope when they landed catastrophically, while Worth missed it by just 10 feet. The impact was severe and immediate. Vickery and Worth lost their lives right on the scene, and Drake succumbed to his injuries 4 days later. Even for a sport known for its fatality rate, the news of the triple demise sent shockwaves through the entire wingsuit community. And yet, despite the dangers and the sobering reminders of how unforgiving it is, the sport continues to thrive, as enthusiasts from around the globe remain perpetually drawn to the thrill of flight, even with the real risks of it being the last thing they will ever do alive. Of course, in this video, I have compiled for you examples of the most horrific wingsuit flying injuries and deaths. I should point out that deadly incidents happen approximately once in 600 wingsuit base jumping flights. This makes it significantly riskier than skydiving, where the fatality rate is about 5 in 1,000,000 jumps. So what about wingsuit diving being safer than it seems? Well, to put it in perspective, getting into your car today and driving can be even more dangerous, with 1 in 147 car accidents ending in a fatality. Interestingly, despite the high risks, wingsuit flying captures the fascination of many adventurers. And of course, these statistics come from comprehensive studies and
be sure I get them
reports
subs
on the
up.
sport.
Yo, why is this shit so loud?
Would you dare to take on wingsuit flying after watching this?
Never. Never. You are
If we
mad.
look at history, the biggest skydiving accident happened.
You are mad. You're worth 500 million and your wife does not know. Hey man, I wouldn't tell that bitch as well. I wouldn't tell that bitch as well.
I just get this feeling that I'm meant to date. I can't fight this.
You are watching your wife put back a jar of pasta sauce because it costs $1.20 more than the other one. You have $500 million. She does not know. The checking account she watches, the one she moved $200 into last Tuesday to cover a water bill that has $11,400 in it. The account she has never seen, the one managed by people she has never met, in a bank whose name she would not recognize, that one makes $41,000 a day in interest. You earned more standing in this checkout line than everything she thinks you have. She turns to you and says, "We should probably eat at home more this month." And you say, "Yeah, Probably. But here is the thing. You did not stumble into this lie. You engineered it. You ran the numbers on your own marriage, decided exactly how much money she could know about without it changing who you are to her, and you have been performing that version of yourself every single day for 3 years. The second phone, the locked drawer, the Honda Accord you drive on.
Hey, man. Okay, there's nobody here in the chat. Hey, listen, man. If, like, the richer I become, dog, I ain't finna tell anyone, boy. Y'all think I'm finna tell y'all once this YouTube shit takes me to the fucking top? I ain't finna tell y'all shit, nigga. I'm finna keep my mouth shut.
On purpose. All of it. Carefully built to keep her looking at the 11,000 instead of the 500 million. And it is about to fall apart. Not slowly, not with a hint or a suspicion. With an envelope, on a kitchen counter, on a Wednesday morning, while she is holding a cup of coffee. The money arrived 3 years ago. Not inherited, not won. Built through a tech company you co-founded in 2014 with a college friend named Marcus, developed from a laptop at your kitchen table while she was at work, and sold in 2021 for a number that required 11 lawyers to process. Marcus took his half, moved to Austin, bought a house on a lake. His wife knows everything. He once asked why yours does not. You changed the subject and did not call him for 2 weeks.
Why?
She knew about the company. She used to bring you coffee while you coded at midnight. She watched you build it for 7 years. She thought it sold for $2.1 million. The actual sale price was $340 million before taxes. After capital gains optimization, after the creation of a revocable trust, after the establishment of a family office she does not know exists, the liquid number that settled into a private wealth account was $287 million. 3 years of compounding at 8.2% annually, reinvestment into commercial real estate across 4 states, and strategic positions in timber, logistics, and municipal bonds brought it to $500 million. In an account linked to a phone she has never held, managed by people whose names she has never heard, growing at a rate of approximately $41,000 per day. You told her 2.1 million because that was the number that would not change things. You calculated it the way you once calculated product market fit modeling outcomes, minimizing disruption, testing thresholds. 2.1 million, after taxes, is enough to pay off the mortgage, start a college fund, and still feel like you both need to keep working. It is the number that preserves the daily structure of the marriage. Above 5 million, she would want a financial advisor who would ask questions you cannot answer in front of her. Above 10 million, she would tell her mother. Above 50 million, you would become different people in the eyes of everyone you know. You were not guessing. You modeled your own marriage the way a quant models a portfolio, optimizing for the outcome that looks most like the status quo. The 2.1 million paid off the mortgage. She cried at the kitchen table, the same table where you built the company, the same table where she will eventually read a very different number on a very different piece of paper. You held her. You told her you were proud of what you had built together. That was the last fully honest moment in your marriage. You kept your job. She kept hers. The checking account stayed in its usual range between $9,000 and $13,000, depending on whether the car insurance or the kids' school fees hit first. The private wealth account added a new comma roughly every 14 months. You did not think about the word eventually. You thought about tomorrow. Tomorrow she would check the checking account, see a number that made sense, and the architecture would hold for one more day. The architecture has held for 1,095 days. Every one of them borrowed. Hiding $500 million is not a single decision. It is a daily infrastructure. You have a second phone, a prepaid device, purchased with cash from a convenience store on a Tuesday afternoon, kept in a locked drawer in your home office. The family office calls it, your wealth advisor calls it, your tax attorney calls it. Your wife has never opened that drawer. You bought the lock the same week the sale closed. A $34 deadbolt latch from a hardware store 3 towns over. She has never asked about it. You have a contingency explanation prepared.
Kellogg's Cocoa Puffs? Mom, please.
First, the power breakfast.
Okay, deal. Cocoa Pops?
Yes, this is the power breakfast. Want vitamins, fiber, and energy? Kellogg's Cocoa Pops.
Old work files, tax documents, nothing interesting that you have never needed to use. The lock cost $34. It is the most consequential purchase you have ever made, and it is the cheapest. The family office manages the invisible life. Real estate holdings in 4 states, apartments in Austin, generating $2.4 million in annual net operating income. A warehouse outside Atlanta, a mixed-use development in Denver projected to return 3.2x on $28 million, a commercial lot in Scottsdale, a timber position in the Pacific Northwest worth $14 million. None of it in your name directly. It is held through a Delaware LLC, owned by a trust, administered by a trustee in Connecticut, who has never met your wife. You drive a 2019 Honda Accord. She drives a 2021 Toyota RAV4. The Accord is deliberate. You chose it because it is the car a person making $185,000 a year would drive. Every visible object in your life has been calibrated to that income. The furniture, the vacations, the restaurants you suggest, the school the kids attend. You once declined a vacation to Hawaii because accepting would require explaining where the extra $4,000 came from without disrupting the budget she tracks on a shared spreadsheet. She was disappointed. You said it was a timing thing. It was a consistency thing. You almost got caught once. A letter from the family office was delivered to your home address instead of the P.O. box. You saw it in the mail pile while she was 3 feet away putting groceries into the refrigerator. You took it to the bathroom. A quarterly summary showing total assets at $463 million. Your heart rate did not return to normal for 3 hours. You shredded the letter at work the next morning and called the family office to confirm the mailing address. The woman on the phone apologized. She said it would not happen again. 3 months later, during a fight about money, the ordinary kind, the kind where someone says something honest because they are tired, she said, "I just wish we had a little more breathing room." You were worth $487 million that day. She wanted maybe $500 more per month. The distance between what she wished for and what you had was not a gap, it was a continent. And somewhere on that continent, a document was already forming that would eventually land on the counter between you. You did not think about that yet. You stood on your side and said nothing. You do spend the money. She just never sees it. A membership at a private health clinic 2 hours away, full body MRI, advanced lipid panels, cardiac calcium scoring, $8,500 per visit. The results go to the second phone. She thinks you go to the same GP she does, the one with the 6-week wait and 15-minute appointments. You stopped going there when the private clinic caught a thyroid irregularity the GP's standard panel would have missed for 2 years. You fly business class on work trips. She thinks you fly economy. You told her the company upgraded you once, and she was happy for you, genuinely happy. The way a person is happy when the system works briefly in your favor. The company did not upgrade you. You bought the ticket from the invisible account because 14 hours in economy felt like a cost you no longer needed to pay. The guilt lasted until the meal service arrived. The ticket cost $9,400. You bought your mother a house, a 3-bedroom ranch outside Charlotte, $380,000. You told your wife it was a reverse mortgage through a federal program. Your mother knows the full truth. She is the only person outside the professional circle who does. She asked you once, on a Sunday phone call, in a voice that was careful, "Does Sarah know?" You said, "Not yet." That was 2 years ago. "Not yet" has become a permanent tense in your vocabulary. It sits alongside "someday" and "when the time is right," phrases that describe a future you have no intention of reaching. Your mother has not asked again. She does not need to. The question is still in the room every time you call. The real engine is commercial real estate. The Austin apartments generate $2.4 million a year in net operating income. The Denver development is projected to return 3.2x within 5 years. Your net worth increases by roughly $185,000 every 36 hours. That is your entire visible annual salary, earned in a day and a half by money that does not know your name. One evening, your wife checks the joint account on her phone. She says, "We're doing okay this month." Your net worth crossed $500 million that afternoon, while you were reviewing quarterly projections at your day job. You say, "Yeah, we're doing fine." The checking account has $11,400. It always has around $11,400. 7 people know about the money. Your mother, your tax attorney, your wealth advisor, the family office manager, the trustee in Connecticut, the financial planner who built the original structure, and a therapist you see every 2 weeks, 40 minutes from your house, far enough that no one from your neighborhood would recognize your car. You pay her $350 per session in cash. No insurance claim, no paper trail. The therapist is the only person who has heard you say the full sentence. I am lying to my wife about $500 million. The first time, the words sounded like someone else's confession. She did not react. She asked,
What did she ask? Some of you guys are the
Pimples? Start working with your skin. Try the new Nivea Clear Up morning routine. The wash gel cleanses pores and the serum rebalances skin. To finish,
what are you afraid will happen if she finds out? You gave 5 answers without pausing. She will feel betrayed. She will question every decision we made together. She will tell her family. Her family will treat me differently. And the marriage will become about the money instead of about us. 5 fears. None about money. All about what money reveals. The therapist wrote something down. Then she said, so the money is protecting the marriage by threatening it. You did not respond. You had 22 minutes left in the session. You spent them talking about your daughter's school schedule. Your wealth advisor said something different during a quarterly review, a conference room on the 19th floor of a building your wife has never entered. The portfolio had outperformed its benchmark by 340 basis points. Then he paused. The longer the disclosure is delayed, the more the non-disclosure itself becomes the issue. At a certain point, the amount is secondary. The duration is the problem. 3 years of silence is not a financial strategy. It is a character description. The money did not make you this person. The silence did. And silence compounds the same way interest does invisibly, automatically, in a direction you cannot reverse without cost. You drive home. The route takes you past the grocery store. Your wife texts, "Can you grab milk?" You stop. You buy the milk. You stand in the checkout line. The pasta sauce she picked last week is on sale. $3.49. You notice the price the way someone notices a crack in a wall they cannot stop staring at. The checking account has $11,200. $200 less than last week. The invisible account gained more today than the checking account has held in the past 3 months combined. The first real crack appears on a Tuesday, 3.5 years after the sale. Your wife finds a receipt in your jacket pocket while hanging it in the closet. Not from the family office, from a restaurant. A lunch meeting with your wealth advisor at a place that charges $180 per person for the tasting menu. She holds the receipt and says, "Where's this?" You say, "Work lunch, client meeting." She looks at the receipt again. $180 a plate? You say, "They picked the place." She folds the receipt and sets it on the kitchen counter. She does not throw it away. You notice. 2 weeks later, she brings it up again. Not directly obliquely, the way a person touches a bruise to see if it still hurts. During dinner, she says, "You've been eating well at work lately." The tone is light. The observation is not. You understand she has filed this somewhere in the architecture of her attention. She is not investigating. She is noticing. Investigation can be managed. Noticing cannot. Your behavior starts changing in ways you do not fully control. You leave the second phone at the office instead of the locked drawer. You pay for things in cash. More often, cash leaves no digital trail she might see on a shared screen. You delete browser history after checking the trust's performance dashboard at 11 p.m. while she slept. You realize, lying beside her at 2 a.m., that you have begun optimizing against your wife the way you once optimized against market competitors, identifying her patterns, managing her data environment. This realization does not make you stop. It makes you more precise. She asks you one evening, kids in bed, house quiet. She is leaning against the kitchen counter, the same counter where, in a few months, you will set a manila envelope that changes everything, and she says, "Are you happy?" The question is genuine. It carries no accusation, no angle. She is looking at you the way she looked at you before the $500 million, before the locked drawer, before the second phone and the $34 deadbolt, and the therapist 40 minutes away. She is looking at you as if you are the person she married. You say, "Yes, this is the most expensive lie you have ever told. It cost nothing." That night, you cannot sleep. At 2 a.m., you walk to the bathroom, close the door, turn the screen brightness to minimum. You open the banking app on the second phone. The balance reads $502,341,000. It has grown since you last checked. It grows while you stand in the bathroom. It grows while she is sleeping 10 feet away in a bed you share. In a house the mortgage was paid off 3 years ago with money she thought was everything there was. The money does not need you to be awake. It does not need you at all. You decide to tell her. The decision exists as a committed intention for exactly 11 days. During those 11 days, you draft 3 versions of the conversation in a notes app on the second phone, the only place she will never find. Script 1 is clinical. Sale price, restructuring, trust, current value. You read it back. It sounds like a man explaining a crime without using the word. Script 2 is emotional. It starts with, I need to tell you something I should have told you 3 years ago. The opening is honest. Every paragraph after it sounds like either a confession or an excuse, and the distance between those two is smaller than you thought. Script 3 is 8 words. The company sold for more than I told you. A lot more. You stare at them for 10 minutes. They are accurate. They are also the sentence that ends whatever your marriage currently is. None of them feel right. Every version requires her to process 2 things simultaneously.
Shout out, you guys. Be sure y'all get the motherfucking subs up. It's the East Side and we locked in, baby. You know.
The money and the lie. The lie is always louder. You choose a Saturday. Kids at her mother's house. You sit at the kitchen table. She is making coffee. You have rehearsed script 2 in the car. You open your mouth. She says, "Oh, I forgot to tell you. My sister's husband lost his job last week. They're really struggling. Mom might need to help them with rent." You close your mouth. She pours the coffee.
Why did she have to spill the news about her goddamn sister, bro? Was it sister or cousin? I'm not really listening. Well, I am listening. It just made him froze, because then he knows he has to help now, bro. Ain't nobody trying to help, bro. What you talking about? Ain't nobody trying to help? What the fuck, bro? We're not trying
She sits down at the same table where she cried when you told her $2.1 million paid off the mortgage. She says, "It makes me grateful we're stable. We're not rich, but we're okay." She says, "We're not rich," with a kind of peace that has its own mass. You are worth $500 million. She is grateful you are not rich, but okay. Her contentment is the lock on the door you were about to open. You do not tell her that Saturday, or the next one. The scripts stay in the notes app. You stop opening them after a month. The intention to tell her does not die. It calcifies. It joins not yet, and when the time is right. Words that describe a future you have stopped building toward. The financial future compounds at 8.2%. The emotional one compounds in silence, in distance. In the growing weight of every sentence, you do not say.
To be honest, bro, like, I honestly feel like if this is really the woman, okay, like, okay, do you know what, Nick? I wouldn't tell her that we made over. I wouldn't tell her the exact amounts, okay? Like, I wouldn't tell her. I would tell her that, yo, you ain't gotta worry about this and that, but I wouldn't tell her the exact amount. But he's supposed to tell her, though, because this shit's just eating him inside.
Year 4, the effects are measurable. Your therapist has a clinical term for it, compartmentalized living. The ability to exist fully inside 2 separate realities without visible contradiction. At work, you pack lunch in a brown bag, refill your water bottle at the cooler, and sit in meetings about quarterly revenue targets that are a rounding error on your invisible net worth. At the family office quarterly meeting, 40 minutes across town, you review a 42-page portfolio summary that includes a 40% stake in a Scottsdale mixed-use development valued at $90 million and a timber position that appreciated 11% in the past fiscal year. You do both in the same week. You wear the same shoes to both buildings. Neither reality feels more real than the other. Your relationship with money has inverted. The visible expenses, the water bill, the grocery run, your daughter's ballet class at $340 per semester carry more emotional weight than the invisible ones. You know the price of a gallon of milk at 2 different stores. You do not know, without opening the app, the current yield on your municipal bond allocation. It is approximately $2.3 million per year. The small numbers feel like your life. The large numbers feel like weather present, constant, too vast for human response. You have become a person who compares pasta sauce prices and ignores the price of a building. You have stopped planning for the future. Normal people plan because the future is uncertain. Yours is not. The $500 million conservatively managed, generates more annually than your visible household will spend across every remaining year of your life combined. Your children's grandchildren are financially secure. This should feel like freedom. It feels like the absence of a reason to move forward. You go to work every day not for the salary, but for the performance. The brown bag lunch is not frugality. It is a costume. Your wife plans a family vacation. A rental cabin in the Smoky Mountains. She spends 3 weeks comparing listings, reading reviews, checking cancellation policies. She finds a deal $1,100 for 4 nights. She shows you the listing on her phone with the specific pride of someone.
Better not say no, bro. Like, yo, if this guy says no, bro, yo.
One who has solved a small, real problem well. You could buy the cabin, you could buy the mountain it sits on, and the company that lists it. You say, that looks perfect. You mean it. The cabin is perfect. Her excitement is real. The performance of responding to it is not. This is when you begin to understand what your therapist has been circling for 14 months. The money is not the problem. The money was never the problem. The problem is that you have built a version of yourself that can only survive as long as she does not know the truth. The $185,000 a year husband who drives a Honda Accord and packs brown bag lunches and compares pasta sauce prices at the grocery store. That is the person she married. If she reads the number on the family office statement, that person ceases to exist in the time it takes to finish a sentence. And you do not know what replaces him. You are not hiding money from your wife. You are hiding a self. On a Wednesday morning, 5 years after the sale, you sit in your car in the driveway for 11 minutes before going inside. On the passenger seat is a manila envelope. Inside it is a single page, a summary statement from the family office. Current total assets, $511,340,000. The number crossed $500 million sometime last quarter. It crossed it the way a river crosses a property line silently, without ceremony. You pick up the envelope. You walk inside. She is in the kitchen. Kids at school. The house has the silence of a weekday morning. Not peaceful, just empty of distraction. She is standing at the counter with coffee. You set the envelope on the counter between you. The same counter where she set the receipt. The same counter where she asked if you were happy. What's that? 3 seconds of silence. Inside those 3 seconds, the entire architecture, the locked drawer, the $34 deadbolt, the second phone, the Honda Accord, the P.O. box, the therapist 40 minutes away, the declined Hawaii vacation, the rehearsed scripts you never delivered, the 1,825 days of performed normalcy balances on the edge of a sentence. Plus, I need to show you something. She picks up the envelope, opens it, reads the number. The silence that follows is not understanding. It is the sound of a world rearranging itself around a fact that was always there and never visible. She reads it again, looks up. The expression is not anger. Not yet. It is the face of a person told the room has a different floor plan than the one she memorized. How long? 5 years. She sets the paper on the counter, does not pick it up again. Her phone is lying next to the statement. The checking account app is open on the screen. 11,400 on the left. 511,340,000 on the right. 2 numbers. 1 marriage. The distance between them is not measured in dollars. It is measured in years. 5 years of comparing pasta sauce prices with someone who did not know. 5 years of packing brown bag lunches that were costumes. 5 years of saying we're doing fine, in a voice calibrated to sound true. The pasta sauce, the Honda, the cabin in the Smoky Mountains, the coffee she is holding. All of it was real. None of it was the whole story. The checking account has $11,400. It has always had around $11,400.
But she's not saying anything, Mos. Sugar.
Stand a chance to win your share of 400,000 Rand in prizes with Stimmerall. T's and C's apply.
Nothing afterwards.
People are starved for the truth.
The human race cannot accept what we know.
You marry into $34 million and go broke. You are 26, standing at an altar. One version of you slides a $6,200 ring onto the hand of a woman named Maria, who made you pull over on the highway once because you were laughing too hard to see the road. The other slides a $34,000 ring onto the hand of a woman named Claria, whose mother already picked the caterer, the florist, and the zip code you will live in. Path A. You and her earn $83,000 combined. No trust fund. No one's parents write checks. Path B. Your salary plus her family's trust. $310,000 in household resources. Same man, same city, same year. 2 different rings. In 14 years, one of you will still be wearing yours. Both of you said yes at the altar. Only one of you built a system the week after. Path A. The love marriage. Age 26. Your first apartment together costs $11.40 a month. 1 bedroom. The bathroom vent rattles when the heat kicks on. You buy a $3 rubber wedge at the hardware store and jam it under the cover. It works. That is the first financial decision of your marriage. $3. Problem solved. You do not know it yet, but this is the whole philosophy. Maria makes $39,000 teaching 3rd grade at a public school 9 minutes from the apartment. You make $44,000 entry-level operations at a distribution company. Your manager is a quiet woman named Dina, who explains things once and never raises her voice. She terrifies you.
Let's get them subs up if you're new to the channel, chat. This video is long.
You take notes. Combined take-home after taxes, $51.80 a month. You sit on the living room floor the first Sunday after the honeymoon. You do not own a table yet and write a budget on the back of a pizza box. Not a napkin. A pizza box. 3 columns. Income, fixed costs, everything else. Rent, $11.40. Car insurance, $2.20. Groceries, $3.80. Phones, $1.10. You stare at what remains. Maria opens a Roth IRA on her phone while you are brushing your teeth. You hear her say, "Done," from the bedroom. You do not know what a Roth IRA is. She explains it in 2 sentences. You open one on your phone before you fall asleep. You each put in $150 a month. Hers is automated the day after payday. Yours is manual, you transfer it on the 2nd Friday. You forget once, in March. She does not mention it. You do not forget again. Date night is Wednesday, not Saturday. You both work Saturdays for overtime. A bowl of pho at a place called Lynn's, 14 minutes from the apartment. $22 with tip. You talk about the budget, the vent. Whether to cancel the gym at $30 a month? You keep it. She says the gym is the only thing keeping her from crying in the supply closet after parent conferences. You do not argue. You cut the streaming service instead. $16. You do not notice it is gone. You eat at home 6 nights a week. Not from discipline, from math. The spreadsheet says $3.80 for groceries. You hit $3.74 in November. She is proud of this. You do not notice. By the end of year 1, $3,600 across both Roth IRAs. $1,800 in savings, you call it the emergency fund. It is not enough yet. It will be. 0 credit card debt. 0 car payment. Your car is a 2014 Nissan Sentra with a cracked dashboard and 126,000 miles. It runs. Net worth as a couple. Approximately $5,400. The number is small. The system is not. Maria twists the ring while you review the December numbers. It costs $6,200. You saved for it over 11 months. No financing. No installments. That ring is fully paid for, like everything else you own. The system you built on a pizza box will still be running in 14 years. You do not know that yet. But the first $150 is already compounding, and it will never stop. Path B. The money marriage, age 26. Your first joint checking account holds $23,000. Her parents wired $18,000 the week after the wedding. Your salary is $62,000 junior associate at a consulting firm her family's connections arranged. The hiring manager knew her father's name before you sat down. Her family's trust, built from a portfolio worth $34 million, distributes $248,000 a year into a separate account she manages. Most of it stays under family oversight managed accounts, a donor fund, obligations her mother tracks. What reaches your household checking is $8,000 a month. The rest compounds. The family does not touch principal. That is rule 1. Combined household resources on paper, $310,000. Claria does not work for a salary. She manages the house, the appointments, the social calendar. She wanted to be a veterinary technician once. She mentioned it at a dinner 2 years before the wedding. Her mother changed the subject. She did not bring it up again. That is how decisions get made in this family. Quietly, permanently. The apartment is $3,800 a month.
1.2.
If you were president for a year today and you had 2 or 3 action items, what would those be?
2 bedrooms in a building with a doorman named Gerald, who knows her maiden name. Claria chose the apartment. The neighborhood matters to her family. You did not object. Objecting would require a conversation about whose money pays for what, and that conversation has a ceiling neither of you will touch. You lease 2 cars. Yours, $510 a month. Hers, $640. Insurance, $410 combined. Total car cost, $1560 a month. The cars are appropriate for the neighborhood. That word appropriate you will hear it 400 times in this marriage. At dinner parties, at her mother's brunches. In the silence after you suggest something that is not, no one says, you must. They say, people like us. The effect is the same. She books a resort in Turks and Caicos for your first anniversary. 5 nights. $8,100 all in. She says her parents will split it. They send $2,500. You put the remaining $5,600 on a rewards card. The points are worth it, she says. You check the balance 3 weeks later. It has not moved. The minimum payment is $112. You pay the minimum. You do not clear it next month. A package arrives in October from a personal stylist her friend recommended. $2,200 in clothing. She returns $400 worth. The remaining $1,800 stays on the Amex. You see the charge on the statement. You do not ask about it. Asking would start the conversation about whose money this is. You are not ready for that conversation. You are watching your wife put back a jar of pasta sauce because it costs a...
I am not finna watch that shit. The fuck is this? Things this game does not tell you.
Can I chill? Do y'all not know I'm a daddy? I'm a real life dad. Active
Shut
dad.
that shit up, gang.
Who was that? Who was that? I don't got... I swear to God on my life. How did you do that? Can I chill? Do y'all not know I'm a...
Thinking niggas getting cold, bro. Need to call it at night, bro. Niggas getting cold up in this bitch. How big tech turned tech reviewers into liars. This video looks... Hey, 33 minutes. God damn, bro. I don't think I'll be able to watch a 33 minutes video.
Why can't Parmesan and balsamic just be made anywhere?
Only one way to find out.
What?
What's the difference?
It's a great environment.
Nope, I'm not gonna like it. I can already tell. Nah, level 7 when you're on level 7. Puff bar, what the fuck is this? Puff bar, what? How did they survive? 3 days, that's like 36 hours. Yeah, this video looks fun. Let's tap in.
The machine is broken. Not dramatically broken, just the kind of broken where it takes the dollar and gives nothing back. The guy in front of you hits it twice. Flat palm, not hard. The way you hit something you've already stopped expecting to work. He walks away. You watch him go, then you look at the machine. Your salary is $41,000 a year. After taxes, $2,940 a month. You know that number the way you know your own face in the mirror. Not because you sat down and calculated it, because you live inside it. The break room is on the 3rd floor. The fluorescent light in the corner has been flickering since March. Nobody filed a report. Nobody will. 300 people work in this building. They all need the 215 sugar hit. They all stand in front of that machine like it's some kind of daily ritual, and the machine keeps eating their dollars and giving nothing back. You ask the building manager about it. His name is Ray. Ray has the look of a man who stopped caring about most things sometime around 2019. He shrugs, says the vending company doesn't service accounts this small. You go home. Cold dinner on the stove. You do the math on the back of a receipt. 300 people. 5 days a week. Conservative average of $150 per transaction. That's roughly $4,500 a week, sitting in a building where the current operator can't be bothered to show up. You call 6 vending companies, 5 don't call back. The 6th quote a leasing rate that makes the numbers work. Barely. But they work. You negotiate a placement deal with Ray. 15% of the gross goes to him. Exclusive access goes to you. He agrees in 4 minutes. You don't think he fully understood what he agreed to. You borrow Tommy's pickup on a Saturday. You tell him you're moving furniture. That's partially true. The machine is heavy and awkward. It takes you 40 minutes to unload it alone. The security guard watches the whole thing with the specific expression, people save for things they privately think are a waste of time. You say nothing, you plug it in, you stock it, you drive home. First month, $340 profit after every cost. You stand in the bathroom looking at the number. You think, is this stupid? This feels stupid. But here's the thing, nobody tells you about $340. It's not the money. It's the mechanism. That $340 didn't come from your hours. It didn't come to your attention. It came from a machine in a building while you were somewhere else entirely. That's a different category of money. Most people never feel the difference. You felt it on a Sunday morning when the deposit hit while you were still in bed. You reinvest every cent, not because you're disciplined, because you understand something now that changes the math entirely. $1 reinvested at this stage is worth more than $1 spent on lifestyle. Not slightly more, compounding more. The gap between reinvesting early and upgrading early isn't linear. It's exponential, and the only way to feel that is to leave the money alone long enough to prove it. You leave it alone. Month 4. You find a second building. Medical office complex on the north side. 460 employees. 2 existing machines that haven't been restocked in 11 days. You know because you counted the empty slots through the lobby window on your lunch break. You need $4,000 to get the second location running. New machine, initial stock, and deposit on the placement contract. You walk into your bank on a Tuesday afternoon. The loan officer's name is Brian. Brian has a firm handshake and the careful neutral expression of someone trained to say no without saying no. You explain the business. He listens with the particular quality of listening that isn't really listening. The kind where the decision is already made and the person is just waiting for you to finish. He asks what collateral you have. You tell him, 1 vending machine, placement contract, cash flow statement showing $340 a month net. He looks at the paper. Then he looks back at you. We typically look for more established assets, he says. Real estate, equipment with a clear title, something we can value. A vending machine in a break room, apparently, is not something they can value. You are not a business owner to Brian. You are a person with a machine in a hallway. You leave without the loan. You save the $4,000 yourself. It takes 7 more weeks.
I mean, is there a better option?
Month 11. Someone breaks into the first machine overnight. $800 gone. The lock is bent. The coin tray is empty. You file a police report on a Thursday morning. Nothing happens. You sit in the parking lot of that building for a while afterward. Engine off, just sitting. You think, maybe Brian was right. Maybe this is the part where it stops making sense. You sit there long enough that a security guard comes out and asks if you're okay. You say yes. You drive home. You restock the machine the next morning. You don't know why exactly. You just do. This is the first thing boring businesses teach you about the financial system. The system was built to understand certain categories. Real estate, inventory, receivables. It was not built for a cash-flowing asset sitting on the third floor of a medical building with no deed, no title, no collateral that the bank can touch. If you don't fit the category, the system doesn't see you. Not hostile, not personal, just the wrong shape for the box. The second machine goes in on a Friday. Month 1, $280. Month 2, $310. Month 3, $390. You update the spreadsheet. Total monthly cash flow, $630. You don't tell anyone. Not Tommy. Not your parents. Not the coworker who asks every few weeks if the vending thing is still going. You've already learned something that takes most people years. The moment you mention money that isn't yet large enough to be undeniable, something shifts in how people look at you. Not support, not curiosity, a gentle pity dressed up as concern.
Yeah.
Is that really worth your time? What happens when the machine breaks? You should just put that money in your 401k. All reasonable questions, all from people who will never build anything that runs without them. You keep the spreadsheet to yourself. You add a third building in month 7. You're still clocking in at the logistics job every morning. Brian at the bank doesn't know. Nobody knows. But what changes at the third machine isn't the cash flow. It's a pattern you're starting to recognize. And once you see it, you can't stop seeing it everywhere. The pattern is this. Boring businesses fail for boring reasons. Not because the market collapsed, not because the product was wrong, because the owner got tired, because their backs hurt, because they wanted Scottsdale, because the account was too small for the vendor to care about. These businesses don't disappear. They just sit there, underserved, undermanaged, generating less than they should, waiting for whoever notices. You start noticing everywhere. The coin-operated car wash on the corner has had a handwritten, temporarily closed sign that's been there for 3 months. The self-storage facility has a website last updated in 2016. The laundromat with no card readers in a neighborhood full of people under 40 who don't carry cash. You develop a simple filter. Is it cash flowing but neglected? Is the owner tired or transitioning? Is the barrier to entry operational, not financial? Is it boring enough that nobody else is competing for it? 4 yeses means you look closer. Month 14, you have 5 machines across 4 buildings. Monthly cash flow, $1,240. Net. After every cost, you're still at the logistics job, still at the same desk, still answering the same.
Shout out, Chad, for joining us. We appreciate the love and support from the Eastside Radio.
Emails. You are sitting in a Tuesday morning meeting about quarterly shipping projections. Your manager is talking about route optimization. Someone is taking notes. The projector is slightly off-center, and nobody is fixing it. And somewhere across town, 5 machines are making money. Right now, while you sit here, while the projector stays crooked, the meeting isn't different. You are. $1,240 a month is not retirement. It's not freedom. It's not even close to replacing your salary, but it's the proof. The proof that the mechanism works. The proof that you can build something that earns while you sit in a meeting about routes. You reinvest everything. Every dollar back into the next machine, next building, next placement contract. Month 18, 7 machines. Monthly cash flow, $1,810. You run the projection at midnight, not from anxiety, from curiosity. The number in year 5 is not what you expected. You close the laptop, you open it again. You run it twice more because the number seems wrong. It isn't wrong. You get up and make a bowl of cereal. You stand at the kitchen counter, eating it. The apartment is quiet. The number is still there when you go back. Compounding doesn't feel real until it's your own money doing it. Then it feels like something you should have understood much earlier. But what happens next, at the point where the cash flow starts to mean something real? That's where the game changes in a way nobody talks about.
Shit. I won't lie, guys. Like I fucking enjoy these type of videos. Like these are the type of videos that just get like my mindset, like my mind just moving, like thinking about all these type of businesses and shit.
You're 31 years old. Net cash flow across 11 machines, $3,200 a month. You bought a laundromat 6 months ago. A man named Roy sold it to you for $43,000 cash. His back hurt. His wife wanted Scottsdale. He needed someone who could close fast and not ask complicated questions. You were that person. You upgraded 3 machines, installed card readers because Roy had been cash only since 1987 and was losing every customer under 40 who didn't carry cash. Hired a manager named Sandra who had run a dry cleaner for 12 years and knew everything about everything. Month 3. 1 washer floods overnight. Sandra calls at 6:13 in the morning. Water damage in the back corner. $1,200 gone before breakfast. You drive there in sweatpants. Roy had mentioned that machine once, said it had been giving trouble. You didn't replace it when you had the chance. You stand in the back corner.
On Qantas, let the magic of your Aussie adventure begin above the clouds. Relax and let our cabin crew introduce you to the authentic flavours of Down Under.
Skin feeling dried out? Feel skin relief with the new Sanex Skin Therapy Shower Gel.
Corner, looking at the wet floor. Sandra hands you a mop without saying anything. You take it. That stays with you longer than the repair bill. Revenue up 31% by month 7. Not 38. 31. Because month 3 costs you. Combined monthly cash flow, $5,800. And nobody in your life knows. Not Tommy. Not your parents. Not the people at the logistics job who still see you as the guy with the vending side hustle. Not Brian at the bank. You drive a 2017 Honda CR-V with 87,000 miles on it. Coffee stain on the passenger seat from last winter. You have not cleaned it. At networking...
2017 seems like... Well, for me, it seems like something that just happened yesterday. No, but I was still in school in 2017. I was still in school.
Events, when people ask what you drive and you say Honda CR-V, you watch them recalibrate. A small mental adjustment. Downgrading their estimate of you. That downgrade is not an insult, it is protection. The moment people know what you have, you stop being a person to them. You become a resource. Their cousin's food truck idea becomes urgent. Their underwater car loan becomes a conversation. Their brother-in-law's opportunity somehow finds its way to your number. The Honda CR-V keeps those conversations from starting. But there is a cost to invisibility that the spreadsheet doesn't capture. You are at dinner with your college friends on a Saturday night. Someone is complaining about their landlord raising rent again. Someone else is talking about how they can't afford to buy in this market. You listen, you nod, you say things like, yeah, that's brutal. You own 2 buildings. You are your own landlord. You do not say this. There is a specific kind of silence that comes from knowing things you can't say in the room you're sitting in. Not loneliness exactly. Just a gap. A distance that opens quietly.
Shout out,
not because you're better, because your context has changed and theirs hasn't. Your best friend since college, Danny, tells you over drinks that he just needs one break. Just one thing to go his way. He's been saying that for 4 years. You've been listening for 4 years. You know with complete certainty that you could solve most of his financial stress with a number that would take you 30 seconds to transfer. You don't transfer it. Not from coldness, from something harder to explain. You gave money once to someone who wasn't ready for it. Your college roommate, $22,000. The money was gone in 11 months. The friendship came back 2 years later. Different. Quieter. With something in it that never fully healed. Money doesn't fix preparation. It accelerates whatever is already there. So instead, you spend 3 Saturday mornings at Danny's kitchen table. His laptop is open. You build him a cash flow spreadsheet. You talk about it like you read about it somewhere. 2 weeks later, he texts you. Man, I didn't realize how much was just leaking out. You read that text standing in a parking lot. You don't reply immediately. You just stand there for a moment. Then you type back. Yeah, that's the whole thing. What comes next is the level most people never reach. Not because of money, because of what happens the first time the bank calls you.
Why is the bank calling?
You are 34 years old. The portfolio looks like this. 11 vending machines across 7 buildings, 2 laundromats, 1 parking lot acquired through a municipal tax lien process. You found reading city notices online at 10:45 on a Wednesday night with a bowl of cereal in your lap. 1 small self-storage facility outside Columbus you bought from a retired electrician named Frank, who said across a Panera table, "I just want someone to take care of my place." You said, "I will." You meant it. Combined monthly cash flow, $14,300. Net worth is somewhere north of $800,000. It exists in spreadsheets and quarterly reports from Carol. Carol is not an exclamation point person. You respect that about her. Then one morning your phone rings. Number you don't recognize. Columbus area code. It's a banker. Not Brian. Someone new. A woman named Patricia, relationship manager. She says the bank has been reviewing your deposit patterns. She'd love to schedule a time to meet. You sit with that for a second. The same institution that couldn't see past Brian's collateral checklist 8 years ago is now calling you first. You didn't change. The number did. You meet Patricia on a Thursday. Corner office. Real coffee, not the lobby kind. She uses the word portfolio. Not vending machines, not laundromats. Portfolio. The assets are the same. The language is completely different. She offers a business line of credit, $250,000, 4.8%. No collateral requirement beyond the business cash flow itself. You think about Brian. $4,000, 7 weeks of saving. A careful neutral expression of someone whose decision was already made. You sign the paperwork. Patricia sends a handwritten note afterward. 3 sentences. She looks forward to growing alongside you. You put it in a drawer, not on the fridge. You know the difference between warmth and strategy. Patricia is good at her job. That's not the same thing as caring about yours. The access is real, though. The rate is real. The speed is real. What changes at this level isn't the money. It's the friction. Every door that used to require 7 weeks of saving and a Tuesday afternoon of being quietly declined now opens in a phone call. The system didn't become fair. You became useful to it. Those are not the same thing. But only one of them changes your options. You use $80,000 of the credit line to acquire 2 more parking lots and a second self-storage unit. Then you make one bad call, a small printing company. Owner retiring. Numbers looked clean on paper. Stable revenue, 3 anchor clients, consistent margins for 6 years. You move fast because the deal feels right, and you've learned to trust the pattern. This time the pattern is wrong. 6 months in, the largest anchor client, 41% of total revenue, quietly moves its contract to a competitor. No warning, no conversation. You find out on a Tuesday when Sandra forwards you an email she wasn't supposed to see. You sit with the spreadsheet for a long time that night. The numbers still work if you replace the client within 90 days. They don't work if you don't. You have 90 days. You spend the next 11 weeks doing the kind of work you thought you had left behind. Cold calls, pitch meetings, driving to industrial parks in the rain to shake hands with operations managers who weren't expecting you. Week 9, nothing. Week 10, a small contract, not enough. Week 11, a mid-sized manufacturer downtown signs a 6-month trial. You break even by month 8. Not a disaster, but 4 months of nights and weekends to get back to zero. You sit with that for a while. Not the money, the instinct. You moved fast because the pattern felt familiar. You didn't look hard enough at client concentration. 1 client, 41%. That's not a business. That's a dependency dressed up as a business. You add client concentration to the filter. Right below boring. Right below is neglect.
That was blocking. Panic with
Elected, right?
And the thing about businesses like this, you can only gain this type of experience if you actually do it, not by anything else.
Below the operational barrier. The printing company teaches you more than the parking lot did. Not because it went well, because it almost didn't. You are in a Kroger, condiments aisle, genuinely deliberating between 2 pasta sauces because one is $2.79 and the other is $3.49, and you can't remember which one you liked more last time. Your phone buzzes. Email from Carol. Subject line Q3 summary. You open it standing next to the pasta sauce. Net asset value across all holdings. $952,000. You read it twice. You put the phone in your pocket. You buy both sauces. You go home. You make dinner. The $3.49 sauce is in fact better. You sit on your balcony. You drink a beer that costs $1.39 from a six-pack you bought on Tuesday. No one calls. No one knows. The city moves the same way it always moves. There is something in your chest that isn't pride and isn't relief. It's closer to recognition. A long, slow nod at yourself across a very large distance of time. You think about a 26-year-old sitting in a parking lot with the engine off, thinking maybe Brian was right. Then you wash the pan, and you go to bed. Here is what $950,000 actually is. Not a destination, a threshold. The assets start doing things you didn't ask them to do. The self-storage facility appreciates 14% in 18 months because a distribution center opens 2 miles north. You didn't plan that. You were just positioned. The parking lot you bought for $4,400 through a city lien notice is now generating $4,800 a month because a new apartment complex opened on the adjacent block. You didn't plan that either. This is what the filter buys you that intelligence alone cannot. You don't need to predict the future. You need to be in the right locations when the future arrives. Patient enough to wait. Present when everyone else moved on to something shinier. You are sitting in your apartment on a Sunday evening. Unit 2B. You own the building. Your name on the mailbox looks like every other name on every other mailbox. Mrs. Patterson in 4A stops you in the hallway. Retired school teacher, always smells faintly of lavender. She tells you the kitchen faucet has been dripping for a week. The landlord hasn't responded to her email. You nod. You apologize on behalf of the landlord. You call your property manager from inside the elevator. The plumber is there by noon. That evening, she slides a note under your door. Neat handwriting on a small card. For the nice young man in 2B, thank you for listening. The world needs more of that. You put it on the fridge. It has been there for...
Hey, but having money is nice. Now, guys, imagine having money, how nice is this? You have businesses making money for you while you sleep. I mean, we can't...
2 years. The portfolio keeps growing. The note stays on the fridge. Both things are true at the same time. And at this level, you start to understand that the most important things come in pairs like that. The number and the thing the number can't touch. The access and the distance it creates. The freedom and the silence that come with it.
The machine runs without you.
You are 41 years old. The portfolio, 31 vending machines, 4 laundromats, 6 parking lots, 3 self-storage facilities, 1 commercial cleaning company, 1 HVAC servicing business you bought from a man named Gerald who said across a folding table, "Promise me you'll keep the guys." You said every one of them. You kept every one of them. Combined monthly cash flow, $41,000. Net worth above $4 million. The exact number is known to 3 people. You, Carol, and an estate attorney named David, who speaks in carefully measured sentences and never uses 2 words when one will do. You have not worked a conventional day in 2 years. You still work. You think about the portfolio constantly. You drive past locations on Saturday mornings. You read city permit filings on Wednesday nights. But you don't have to be anywhere at any specific time. You don't have a manager. You don't have a meeting that starts at 9, regardless of whether you slept. That specific freedom cannot be purchased at any level below this one.
Never.
Only built, slowly, quietly, over the years of boring Saturdays and Wednesday nights and Tuesday mornings when you drove past something broken that everyone else walked past. You go away for 11 days in October. Small cabin outside Bend, Oregon. You bring the book you've been on page 112 of for 3 months. You get to page 209. While you are gone, the deposits arrive like they always do. Patient, indifferent, reliable. You sit on the porch on the 7th morning. Coffee, cold air, pines. Not happiness exactly. Not pride. Something more like rightness. Danny texts sometimes. Still the same job. Still waiting for the break. You text back. You ask about his kids. You mean it. The distance between your lives is something neither of you mentions, not from discomfort. From love. Because some distances are just true. And naming them doesn't close them. What you built exists in the gap between the categories that the system understands. Assets nobody competed for. Locations nobody watched. Businesses nobody thought were worth a second look. That gap is still there. It always is. It just looks different every time. A broken machine in a break room. A cash-only laundromat is losing customers under 40. A parking lot buried in a city notice at 10:45 on a Wednesday night. A sign with a faded letter in the window of a car wash between a Quick Trip and a Kroger. The gap doesn't announce itself, it just sits there, waiting for whoever is paying attention. Somewhere right now, someone is standing in a break room on the 3rd floor of an office building. The machine just ate their dollar. They hit it twice. Flat palm. They walk away, they get a coffee from the kitchen, they go back to their desk, they answer their emails. The machine stays there.
Yo, hey, that's so disappointing, bro. That's so disappointing. Should we tap into another video? I see y'all still out here with the boy. How long have you been on stream? 3 hours probably. 3 hours, 28 minutes. Okay. Wait, can y'all see my, like, why is my... Let me try to bring, like, this shit a little bit down type shit. Okay, let's tap into another video. These videos are nice. These videos are very nice. I'm not gonna lie to you. Let's watch.
Since the day you were born, a guardian angel was assigned to you. He's been watching over you, trying to...
Nobody ignores you when you have no money. They just stop factoring you into the future. Rooms naturally orient themselves around certain people, certain numbers, certain futures. And if you're not one of those things yet, you're present. But you're not weighted. You are 22 years old. Your checking account has $214 in it. You're at a dinner. You've already read the menu twice. This is where it starts. The thing nobody tells you about having no money is that it's not loud. People imagine confrontation, obvious moments where the gap shows, but mostly it's quieter than that. Mostly it's just, you're not part of certain calculations. You go to a birthday dinner. Before you leave your apartment, you check your account. $238. The dinner will probably be 60, maybe 70 with tip. You do the math automatically, the way some people check the weather. You sit down, you open the menu, you read it from right to left. Price first, then the name of the dish. You find the safe column, you pick something, you close the menu. Nobody notices. Why would they? It's a menu. Someone talks about a trip, a group thing, everyone should come. People throw out dates. Someone asks if you're in. You say you'll have to check your calendar. You don't have a calendar conflict. After dinner, someone suggests a bar. Cover charge you weren't expecting. You go anyway. You order the cheapest thing and hold it for 40 minutes because you're not buying another one. Here's the part that's hard to explain. It was a good night. You laughed. Nothing bad happened. But on the train home you realize nobody asked you anything tonight. Not your opinion on the trip. Not what you wanted to do after. Nothing that required a decision involving money included you in the making of it. The check came. Someone picked it up before it fully touched the table. Not unkindly. Automatically. Like the math had already been done. You stare out the window. The train moves. You are not dismissed. You are simply not included in the calculation.
Shame, man.
That's different. It takes a while to understand how. Your mom calls Sunday evenings. The call has a specific architecture neither of you names. First question, how are you doing? Second question, within 90 seconds, some version of are you okay financially? She doesn't say it like that. She says, are things stable? Or sometimes just a pause after you say fine. A pause that means she's deciding whether to believe you. You say you're building something. You use the word building because it implies motion without requiring a number. She says to make sure you're not eating out too much. You are 24. You say okay. You change the subject. She circles back once. Do you need anything? You say no. A little too fast. Your dad visits. You take him somewhere real. You pay. He lets you pay, but he glances at the bill before you pick it up. You watch his face run the number. He doesn't know you're watching. He says the food was great. He means it. In the car, he tells you to make sure you have 3 to 6 months saved. You've heard this from him at least 4 times. You nod. Then something you don't expect. You're helping him in the garage later, and mid-sentence he stops and looks at you and says, "You're okay though, right?" Not accusatory. Just checking. Still checking after everything. Something moves through you that isn't frustration. It's closer to tenderness. The specific tenderness of realizing your parents are scared of the same world you are, just from a different angle. You say, "Yeah, Dad, I'm okay." You mean it more than he knows. They're not doubting you. They're remembering themselves. The worry doesn't disappear. It just goes quiet. Not a conversation, not an acknowledgement. The calls just change tone. The pause after "I'm fine" gets shorter. Your mom stops circling back. Eventually you identify what changed. She stopped bracing. You're 28, 29. You have a number that means if something breaks, car, furnace, a medical thing, you handle it. You don't call anyone. You just handle it. You don't realize how much mental energy went to that specific fear until it starts to...
I see Valeni back by Git. See Valeni.